Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda 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 Paramashivoham. Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda 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 Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda
Nithyanandam Dharma Sukhadam Kevalam Jnanatam Dvandvaditam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasya Vilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadi Sakshibhutam Bhavaditam Trigunagrahitam Sadgurum Tam Namah. Hello everyone, welcome you to another segment with the Nithyananda TV. We welcome all the devotees and everyone else watching us live on Nithyananda TV, on YouTube and on Facebook. Today is a very special day, as today is the concluding day of the Paramashivoham program, the second season which is happening, and today is the final conclusion day. The Supreme Panel is going to be gracing all the participants in the Bhava as the Supreme Panel himself. Today, the Bhava Darshan, which is going to be bestowed, is going to be graced upon all the participants, is the Bhava of Bhagavan Sri Nithyananda Paramashivam, as Swamiji as himself. Before we enter any further, along with me, I would like to introduce you to the Supreme Panel. And today we're going to be going over a couple of different aspects, a couple of different powerful cognitions, and how we can become Swamiji, how we can become one and be in the space of Nithyananda Paramashivam. As you can see in the YouTube and in the Facebook, the title for today's segment is become one with the avatar. So today we're going to be talking about the various different ways, the various different aspects on how we can manifest that space of Nithyananda Paramashivoham, the Mahavakya which we chant, how we can make that as our own reality. So before that, we'll have a glimpse into the life, the accomplishments, into the achievements which the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has made, has given, has bestowed to the whole world. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was born on the 2nd of January in the year 1978. At the tender age of 3, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was initiated as a Bala Sannyasi, which is the initiation into the child saint, from which age the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was directly started training to revive KAILASA. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism in the holy town of Tirunelveli was recognized by many people, by many Vidwans, by many enlightened masters, enlightened beings at that time, as an incarnation as per Hinduism, by several enlightened beings and masters. At the tender age of 10, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was coronated as 233rd Guru Mahasannidhanam, which is the pontiff of Kanchi Kailasa Phalguni, otherwise known and called as the Tonde Mandaladinam. At the age of 16, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was officially coronated by his Vedanta Guru, Mata Vivekananda Puri, also lovingly called as Mataji Krupamma. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was officially inducted as the successor of the Arunachala Sarvamya on the 24th of May 1999. As per the tradition and the ritualistic procedures, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism received the Kamandalu, the conch, and the wooden staff from Mata Vivekananda Puri. You can also see here the various photos of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism officially being coronated as the successor of the Arunachala Sarvamya. Here, we are looking at the early days in the mission of the Nithyananda Sangha, of the revival of the Hindu nation, the establishment of KAILASA, where the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was coronated as the successor of Kashi Sarvamya Peetham, and also founded the international mission, the Nithyananda Sangha, to revive KAILASA International, both in the year 1999. The year following that, in the year 2001, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism created the Tirchengoda Adinam. In the year 2002, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism founded Adi Kailasa Sarvamya Peetham, the Nithyananda Peetham, on November 4th at the age of 24. By the age of 26, 27, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was coronated as the head, the incumbent emperor of the Suryavamshi Samrajya, and was also coronated as the head of Sri Purasarvamya Peetham, both in the year 2004. Here we can see the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism reviving the Salem Sarvamya Peetham in the year 2006 and declared as the Guru Mahasannidhanam of Adi Pallava Sarvamya Peetham in the year 2007. In the year 2007, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was declared as the Mahamandaleshwar of the Mahanirvani Akhada by the official leadership of the Mahanirvani Akhada. In the year 2012, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was coordinated as the 293rd Jagat Guru Mahasannidhanam of Kailaswana the Shamanapita Sarvamya Peetham. The year following that, in the year 2013, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was ritualistically initiated and coordinated as the Mahamandaleshwar of the Mahanirvani Akhada. In the same year, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was also coordinated and inducted as the 1008 Acharya Mahamandaleshwar of the Atal Akhada as well. Is the largest apex body of Hinduism, both representing the major sampradayas and akhadas of the Hindu tradition. Here we can see the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism being coronated as the head, as the Guru Mahasannidhanam of various adhinams, including the Vedaranyam Adhinam, Panchanatikulam Adhinam, Tiruvarur Adhinam, and much more. Yes, here you can see the Guru Parampara of the Vedaranyam Adhinam and the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism being coronated as the head of Panchanatikulam as well. In the year 2015, on the 12th of January, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was officially coronated and elected as the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism by a congregation of over 1,000 Hindu spiritual leaders. In the same year, in the month of July, Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was coronated as the Guru Mahasannidhanam of Dharma Mukti Swarga Paramadhi. In the month of August, in the month of September, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was officially coronated as the Guru Mahasannidhanam and head of the Kolgamata Adhinam. And in the year 2017, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism became the reviver of the Suryavamshi's Chola Samrajya as well. Here you can see the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism throughout the many years of the public life of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has gone and has conducted many world tours and many global Hindu spiritual conventions, awakening the Kundalini energy, giving the guaranteed life solutions, and ultimately giving the Enlightenment initiation and the explosion of superconscious energy in various parts of the world, in various cities and countries, including North America, in Canada, in various parts of Europe and Asia as well. Here we have glimpses of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism conducting the mass living enlightenment initiation conventions in various parts of the world, including Ohio, Oklahoma, and many other places as well. Here we can see the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism during the world's largest celebrated festival, the Kumbh Mela festival. Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism gracing, blessing, and initiating thousands and thousands of people into the living enlightenment. To all those participants and all the devotees and disciples who had come to visit and attend the spiritual programs during the Nasik Kumbh Mela and the Ujjain Kumbh Mela. Here, we can see the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism creating the United States of KAILASA. The purpose of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism on entire earth is to bring back the timeless Hindu Sanatana Dharma through the establishment of KAILASA, a Hindu nation focused on safeguarding and reviving Hinduism, the world's oldest, peaceful, enduring representation of harmonious coexistence. KAILASA is the first nation for Hindus, a macrocosmic, ancient Hindu enlightened civilizational nation, whose vision is living enlightenment for all of humanity. KAILASA's mission is to revive and share the practical applications of Hinduism, greater sciences, including the Hindu cosmic physics, the alchemy science, Hindu cosmology, Hindu biology, the Hindu mathematics, the power manifestation science, and much more as revived by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. These sciences were once practiced freely in 56 different nations, but are unfortunately now endangered due to the persecution which has been happening over a millennia. Here you can see one of the most historic moments in the creation of the Hindu nation, the only Hindu nation for Hindus the creation of the KAILASA, where the United States of KAILASA is being represented in the United Nations by the ambassadors of KAILASA and giving a voice for the Hindu indigenous traditions on international forums, explaining and shedding light on the years and decades of persecution which has been going on and is still ongoing on Hindu minority traditions. Here, we can see various initiatives by Sri KAILASA and the United Nations, where for the purpose of humanitarian effort for an enlightened, peaceful, sustainable, equitable, and thriving world, Sri KAILASA United Nations has initiated 108 various different projects for the betterment of humanity. One of these projects is the No Hungry Home project, which has been launched by Sri KAILASA United Nations. This project has served more than 1 billion meals in the form of various Annadan services, which is the traditional offerings of free food during the religious ceremonies, religious gatherings, and to the pilgrims who come and visit the various Kailasas across the globe. Over the past 27 years, more than 3 million Annadans have been organized by the United States of Kailasa, and a total of 1 billion meals have been served worldwide. On a daily basis, Kailasa serves more than 10,000 meals, and this number goes up to 100,000 on festival days. These Annadan services are provided free of cost and without discrimination, be it according to gender, be it according to other religious gatherings, being according to economic status, being according to gender, whatever the discrimination may be. Kailasa is giving the service free to all people of all backgrounds from all communities without any discrimination. This is just one of the many initiatives, the many services to the planet Earth. Not only that, but the Supreme Council of Hinduism has also, in every single field which Hinduism represents, in every single field of a person's life, Supreme Council of Hinduism has not just taught, spoken, but has contributed on a grand scale for the benefit of the people and for the benefit of not just 1 or 2 or 100 special individuals, but for planning and delivering on the scale on a global scale as well. Along with us, Sri Prem Supananda Maharaj, you can actually share. We have gone over just glimpses and just a few of the many different offerings, many different services which Swamiji has offered and is continuing to offer to the world. So how is it that Swamiji is able to do such massive work and that in such a short span of time? If you calculate since when Swamiji has officially started, the mission started the public life, it has been just over 20 to 23 years. So how has so much work been able to happen? How Swamiji single-handedly been able to do so much in such a short span of time?
Yes, Mangala Maharaj. Like in the 23 years of Swamiji's life, the Supreme Point of Hinduism's life, all that we just showed here is actually so much, but it's actually not everything that is put here. It's just like a glimpse of the glorious past which we had. And that itself is like so much for one person to do. It's like literally Swamiji, the Supreme Court of Hinduism, built everything so beautifully. Yesterday itself, we had this question in the yesterday session we had in the NTV session here. We had like how did Swamiji do this? That was the question that we had. What I would say is that how Swamiji sees people as. It's how Swamiji takes care of the people who are with him. All of us, any devotee, disciple, anyone who has even just seen Swamiji for the first time and just came for a program, or anyone. It's how Swamiji sees them, takes care of them, and gives everything best for that person. It's not the number of people Swamiji has who are doing seva in the Kailasa, who are building the Kailasa, or who are part of Kailasa. Even if they're not anyway actually doing anything for Kailasa, or even if they're not anyway doing anything which we say like doing some seva in the Adinam or in Kailasa or any part of this whole ecosystem. Even if they're not doing anything, even if they're like completely new person or anybody from anywhere it could be, Swamiji does not see them as like another person. He does not see them as one more number who can some way do some good to Kailasa or anything like that. He doesn't literally expect anything from them. He just sees how he can contribute, how something can be added to that person's life for that person to become Paramashivoham. That is what Swamiji sees. So he sees that person as a being, not just as a number, but as a being. That was what is the whole secret.
So even though when we're saying the grand narrative of what the Supreme Court of Hinduism has accomplished over such a short period amount of time, though statistically wise, we need to present these numbers, we need to present only then it gives a sense, we understand for our minds or for the minds of all of us, gives us a sense and a set of standard of how much has happened. But if you actually see how Swamiji is building the nation, how Swamiji is creating each and every Kailasa ecosystem, it is because simply the love which Swamiji is pouring in that individual, in that person, out of the completion, out of the space of love and gratitude they are having on the Supreme Court of Hinduism, on Swamiji, for what Swamiji has contributed to their life. It is from that space of gratitude all the great work is happening. Be it creating Kailasa center, be it creating Kailasa embassy in the locality, or being, just simply organizing everyone in the locality to come and sit and attend the Nithyananda satsang together. Whatever the activity, whatever the service, the seva they are providing, it is simply because of their love for Swamiji, the gratitude they are having on Swamiji, on the Supreme Court of Hinduism, for what he has been contributing to their life continuously. Beautifully, Maharaj, you mentioned that why Swamiji is the way Swamiji is because of the way you hold people outside. One Swamiji had said a couple of years back is that life happens outside, life happens with others, with other people. None of us are living in caves, living somewhere in the Himalayas and staying doing meditation 24/7 and having long jittas growing and getting becoming a part,
Letting the ground, like you see all the stuff.
Exactly. Yes, we are all living in society. We're all living with, we're interacting with a number of people on a daily basis. And so when we say we are in the space of oneness, when we talk about these Advaitic truths, these Vedantic philosophies, it is not just a philosophy, it is a concept, a principle which we need to understand and live by. When Swamiji says that we are all in the space of oneness, literally means that whoever person you're seeing, be it your mother, your father, or your co-workers, or your family and friends, each one is representing a certain part of you, certain part of your own self. Swamiji actually beautifully shared in one satsang that each one, whoever you're seeing outside, is not just a mirror, but is an alarm clock. A mirror is where you see a reflection, but an alarm clock is something which reminds you, something which triggers a part of you thinking, yes, this, when you're seeing someone and you're having completion with them of the way they are maybe shouting at you, or maybe not treating you the way you want to be treated. It is a reminder for you that you are also holding the same space, and that is why that is being reflected in another person, why that other person is treating you in that same way. And so there's a beautiful process that Swamiji had given where you sit and you identify the 21 people whom you are interacting with on a daily basis, who you think about 3 times a day. Anyone who you think about 3 times a day is a part of your team lead. So team lead is basically a joining of two words, your team and your family. All the people who you're interacting with on a daily basis, all the people who you're relating with. Naturally, these are all the people who are going to be mirrors, who are going to be alarm clocks in your life, reminding you about different aspects of yourself, be it the good, be it the bad, the unattended, all the different aspects of your life, different aspects about yourself are being manifested, being reminded you by these 21 people. And so when you come into completion with just these 21 people, complete completion, Naturally, you are coming to complete completion with everything inside your being, and the Advaitic experience happens to you. The Paramatma experience happens, and you become one with Paramashivoham. Yeah. And so it is this one concept, enriching and causing other people. Because what you're actually doing when you're enriching someone, when you're causing the reality of someone else, you are working towards causing the reality of your own. Because as you mentioned and stated before, causing the reality of someone else is directly working towards those other people outside or the direct reflections of what is inside you, inside your being.
Yes. Also, the main thing here is it's conquering your own life. It is only when you understand yourself completely, when you're in the space of complete completion within yourself, only then you can enrich the other person who you're working with, whether it's either team, it's your family, or the colleague who you work with, or anyone, for enriching them into anything, whether it is enriching them to come towards Swamiji, or whether it is to attend a program, or to do anything, to add value to that person's life. You need to be complete with yourself first. Only if you are able to complete with yourself, means this is completion with yourself, meaning conquering your life, only then you'll be able to manifest the other person's reality, means manifesting the other person, what the other person wants in their life or needs in their life. You'll be able to give that to them only when you are in the space of complete comfort. That is why when you see Swamiji, he is like in the ultimate space of completion. Anything that he says, just like that, manifests instantly. You like literally do not have to do anything when Swamiji says something. When Swamiji says something, it will just happen so beautifully, whether it's like healing or whether it is any kind of power manifestation that you want to manifest, or anything that you want, like wealth manifestation, any obstacle you're facing in your relationship, health, wealth, and any other aspect in your life, if you see, it is just make anyone manifest anything that they want in their life.
I think just adding to what you said, Maharaj, the fundamental purpose when we start practicing completion, find the point, that is so that we get into the phase of completion. But unfortunately, for many of us, for all of us, in fact, it is easier to find faults in another person rather than finding the same faults in ourselves. If we are seeing, if we ourselves are behaving like that, where we are having stage fright, where we are afraid of opening ourselves out, of talking, public speaking, naturally, before we seek in ourselves, we are going to be able to seek in other people as well. And so only when we do the enriching, only when we do the causing, when we are helping another person come out of their patterns of public speaking, helping them coming out of their pattern of assisting to relate with people, naturally we start thinking inside. We start thinking, we start understanding the realization, the clicks that are happening of where now I myself am going through this, I myself are facing this pattern. And so that is why Swamiji says again and again and again, when you want something to happen in your life, when you want to manifest something in your life, help someone manifest that in their life. If you want to become a public speaker, if you want to open yourself out, become someone who talks on stage, who's so charismatic, who is free and open with their words, when you help someone do that, naturally the same thing is going to happen to you. Because you are just working on yourself, but through another person. You're working on your own patterns, on your own incompletions, but helping another person come out. Because it is so easy for us as human beings, it's so easy for us to point flaws in each and every other person, each and everything around us other than us. That is one of our biggest pain points, one of the biggest flaws of us is where we are able to point fingers, we're able to point errors, we're able to see mistakes and everything else. But when it comes to doing the same thing ourselves, we are not willing to be ferocious with our mistakes. We're not willing to be ferocious with what we need to do, with the actions we need to do. And so that is why enriching and causing is one of the most important spiritual teachings of Swami, one of the most important practices. Swami says, if we want, Swami says, any spiritual cognition, any powerful cognition which you have, the first 25% happens when you listen to that spiritual cognition to that powerful cognition in the satsang. The second 25% of imbibing and understanding the truth happens when you sit and contemplate by yourself. And the third 25% happens when you have a discussion, have the Jivakas with another person or with a group of people. But it is only in the fourth 25% does the whole learning actually become complete. And that is when you teach the same principle to another. And so even in this process, 50% of it is happening with another person, it's happening with the external world, with external factors. Because number one, we are all connected and in the space of oneness. Swami says that he gives a very beautiful example actually. If you take the ocean and if you take all the islands on the ocean, from on top, from down, if you look, we all look like separate islands. But if you go underneath the water and if you see the root, we're all interconnected. We're all one and the same. Yes. And so working with someone is not only helping them come out of their patterns, but it also helps you come out of whatever your pattern which you are struggling with and you are suffering with that.
Yes, Maharaj. That was so beautifully said. So, as Mangala Maharaj was saying that we are all connected into the same root, I just wanted to share one experience from myself where I had this experience when I started doing the enriching and causing just through the power manifestation that Swamiji has given me and all of us. I, as a Balasanta from the Nithyananda Gurukul, we used to sit with people to manifest powers and help them to manifest powers. So I was sitting with another few Balasants who had just come to the Gurukul. So I was helping them to do the power manifestation and helping them to do the power manifestation in the third eye blindfold reading and other powers. And also one more thing that I wanted to share was I had a lot of stage fear from the very young age when I was before joining Gurukul and even after joining the Rajavidya Gurukul to Swamiji, I was having a lot of stage fear of speaking in the stage, or just even going to the stage. And especially speaking, I used to get really, very nervous when I had to go and speak something or share something on stage. But what happened was when I started manifesting this powers and helping others manifest the powers. With Swamiji's initiation, with the supreme part of Hinduism's initiation, when I started helping others to manifest the powers, enriching them to manifest the powers, that is when the real breakthrough started happening in me. Like Swamiji says, the power manifestation itself is not the 100% achievement that you are getting from the initiation that Swamiji is giving all of us. It's not just the power manifestation. Power manifestation and all the Shaktis that we are manifesting is just a side effect. But the real, even the power manifestation which happens, you can only truly do the power manifestation when you decide that all the power manifestation, when you have decided to give your life for others. Rather than actually the power manifestation, even truly start even manifesting. And so to hear more about the experience of Paramashivoham Maharaj, to hear more about whatever you do in life, whatever you want to do in life, when you start aligning that towards enriching and causing, whatever profession you may be in, be it towards the power manifestation or be it in any other field or any other profession in your life, when you start aligning it more and more towards serving the other people, serving people and contributing back towards their life, it is only then you're going to start feeling fulfillment in what you're doing. So we're going to be continuing more about this on the upcoming sessions. We're going to have a short break right now. And after this break, we'll be back with you.
A more intelligently connected world leads to a brighter future. An enlightened humanity leads to a better world. During the Paramashivoham program, we help people to discover their superhuman possibilities and help them to find and achieve the true purpose of their birth by giving them the techniques, practices, and methodologies from the Vedagamas, the original source scriptures of Hinduism. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is reviving the ancient original Vedas and Agamas in all its glory, in a user-friendly way for the modern mind. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is transforming human beings into divine beings, reviving, initiating, and replicating the 463 powers from the Agamas revealed by Paramashiva. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is not just giving solutions for every problem man faces, but is making them irrelevant to their lives by transforming human beings into divine beings.
Listen. Any argument presented by your mind, body, your present reality to establish you are not Paramashiva. You are not omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent. Anything presented to prove you are not Paramashiva is illegitimate. decide this. This is super determinism. Understand? Anything you declare as illegitimate will lose power over you, will die in few days, few minutes, maybe in few weeks, whatever few days it takes. It will not have power over you. Understand? This is the method for sudden enlightenment. This is the method for sudden enlightenment. It happens by the Shaktipada. Here Paramashiva is sitting to tell you all, you are Paramashiva, you are me, with Shaktipada and Shaktinipada.
The Dvitiya Vijnasa Krama is an extensive and thorough yoga sequence to prepare your body to receive the experience being given by the Supreme Founder of Hinduism. Through the yoga, which is aligned as per the source scriptures laid down by Paramashiva and the Agamas, you break all the impossibility in your body and in turn break the very cognition of impossibility. The program leads you to go beyond your human frame and limiting human ideas, which prevents you from living your highest possibility.
I will reach you wherever you are, whichever corner of the world you may be. I will reach you with enlightenment.
Again I tell you, I am not here to prove I am God, I am here to prove you are God.
Don't wait to become divine. Register now at paramashivoham.org.
Yes. So we are back now. Just what I was I want to continue what I was sharing about the experience that I had with the power manifestation and how that made me break my insecurity patterns that I had, and how by enriching others to manifest the powers and helping them to manifest the powers made me break something that I was struggling with for so long. Like I had some, it was not even like a slow thing or like the process that happened slowly. That I found out that this was the problem, and then I had to sit and do completion for that for so many days and all that. It was just like I started manifesting the powers, and when I was helping the other person, I just went. I had to go for another power manifestation demonstration, and I just went over there and I just started speaking. It was like only afterwards I realized that, oh my God, I spoke on the stage. So there was something that like instantly had already broken off without me even knowing that something like that had like left me, and that I had become complete from that pattern that I was having, the stage fear. So this was something like a breakthrough that I felt that this is what happened to me when I started doing the enriching and causing of other people for them to manifest anything in their life. So this process of enriching and causing is something phenomenal and very powerful for anyone. It's like another spiritual practice that you have to do for manifesting your own realities as well. Enriching others means enriching yourself. There is nothing different from enriching others and enriching yourself. Only when you enrich yourself, you'll be able to enrich others. That is the whole secret and the whole process of enriching and causing itself. That is what the process is for.
Very beautifully shared, Maharaj. Actually, even if you take in the outside world, all the jobs, all the professions which are focused, which you serve people, where you serve other people, be it as a doctor or a teacher, where you're directly contributing and serving another person. In all these different fields, and all these different things, if you look at the statistics, these are the people who live for a very long period of time, whose longevity is typically larger and more longer than the longevity of the rest of basically everyone else. Because there fundamentally a very important thing is happening where you're giving life. You're spending your life into another person. And actually, very beautiful examples Swamiji gives again and again. As long as you hold your hands like this, then Paramashiva will give you only how much you can carry in your hands. But if you only spend time, if you spend whatever you have, whatever you receive, you only continue to shower and give that to the people around you, then Paramashiva doesn't know where to shower now because you're not holding your hand like this anymore. Whatever you have, you're just continuously giving it, shine to the people and everyone around you. Naturally, Paramashiva will just shower you on your whole being. And so that is pretty much the same way. Even if you just take your life, your profession, or anything that you do, there's a certain sense of fulfillment, a sense of happiness you have when you serve another person, when you help another person, take care of them. When you help a younger student solve a certain math question, a certain problem which he's struggling with in school. Anywhere you teach, you help, you enrich another person. You have the sense of completion, that feeling of completion, the fulfillment happens in your being. And so imagine doing that on much larger scale, doing that not just with one or two people or a classroom full of people, but enriching and causing the whole of humanity. And so that is why Swamiji has opened up this possibility for you to be a part of the great revival of not only creating the Hindu nation health, be a part of the history in the happening of the Kailasa nation, but also help you to have this experience of completion, have this experience of fulfillment by directly working towards the creation of the Hindu nation, of the Kailasa nation. The Kailasa nation is already created, already happened, but being a part of the history of creating the enlightenment ecosystems in various parts of the world, you have the beautiful opportunity by becoming a part, signing up for the e-citizen, Kailasa's e-citizen. By being an e-citizen of Kailasa, not only will you be having all the digital services of Kailasa, but you also will be having many opportunities, many places where you directly can start contributing and working to expand Kailasa in various parts of the world, wherever you are, in various different projects or in your locality itself. And so take this time and opportunity to sign up and become a part of Kailasa's e-citizen program, of Kailasa's e-citizen project, where in both ways, all the services which Kailasa has and is ready with will be offered, and you can enjoy all the services of all the digital services of Kailasa. And at the same time, you can become a part, a working member of creating Kailasa all across the world.
Yes, Maharaj. So this, what we are like, literally, what Swamiji's life itself, if you see, it is all about conquering your life and going beyond your possibilities. Each and every thing that has happened that Swamiji is doing, it's like every time it's like a new breakthrough. It's something going beyond the limits. Like every 1 year, you see like we are so much if I see like the past 1 year, the achievements that Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism Swamiji has done is like it's something next level. It's not just a small breakthrough or anything. It's because he's just pouring himself into the whole world and pouring his time and energy and everything into the other beings, into all of us. It's just that he is like he does not bother like whether they're there with him forever or they're not there. He just keeps giving, 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 giving. That is what is the whole thing behind this. Like you said, Mangala, like when you're just keep on showering people, and when your hands are like this, Paramashiva, like he gives you what you ask for. But when your hands are in blessing, when your hands are blessing, Paramashiva shower just keeps showering you, showering you, showering you, showering with more and more, more and more, more and more. That is what is like the power of enriching and causing. When you cause someone's life, when you cause someone's reality, when you make someone manifest what they want, it does not have to be only like making them attend a program. Even if it is as simple as like helping them to come out of a small incompletion that they're experiencing. If they're having something that they are suffering with, just helping. This also the Paramashivoham program that is going on and that will again continue to go on. The next season will start in, I think tomorrow and upcoming with the Paramashivoham programs and other programs are continuously happening, and the Brahmotsavams are happening, all the different temple events. So many beautiful things are happening. So in all of these, just if you enrich one person to even drop a small incompletion or helping them to manifest the power, connecting them to Swamiji, enriching that person's life to become a better person, to become Swamiji himself. And also have to understand that any enriching and causing that you're doing or anyone is doing, it makes you manifest Swamiji in your life. Like anything you manifest, anytime you decide to enrich and cause, and you just start, literally Swamiji will flow through you and cause your reality and also cause the other person's reality. It's always like any person you help even a little bit, you will feel so fulfilled inside you, and you will start manifesting so many beautiful things in your own life itself. Mangala Maharaj, do you have any experience from your life where you, after enriching a person or enriching a person in anything, like you helped a person causing their reality? How did that help you in your life when you help another person, when you enrich another person and cause that person? How did that help you in your life? Can you share something like this? Sure, we'll be having so many.
There are a lot of things actually. When once after you become a adolescent, especially, and you start actively doing this work of classes, sessions, helping people with their problems. There was there were many months where I was working with the other Balsins and the other younger Balsins and Gurukul kids. And so every day, just spending time with them, attending to them, it breaks. And not only that, if you start identifying so many different problems, so many different patterns you have inside you, when you see a small kid when he, he's full and he's not able to eat, he wants to, throw away the rest of the food. Naturally, everything you start saying, you don't even think first. First, you start attending to the problem directly. And then naturally, as a flow, all the other powerful cognitions, everything just starts flowing out of your mouth, just starts flowing out through your being. And so naturally, after that, once that situation is handled, then you're sitting with yourself and you're thinking about everything that you said, and you start contemplating on what you said. And directly, just Swami says many times, identifying the problem is 90% of the solution. So when you start identifying the various problems you have in your life, just bringing awareness to the problems automatically completes and so it's just small things in your life. When you start identifying, when you start looking at your life in this context, that everything you do, everything you are doing to serve another person, everything you are doing to help enrich, cause the reality of someone else, it is directly working, directly helping, causing your own reality itself. Because, as you said earlier, it is very easy to find faults in other people, but very difficult to find the same problem, same faults in yourself. And so when you talk, when you start speaking, you start analyzing and helping someone come out of their problems, automatically you know what to do with your own problems and solutions as well. Swami actually beautifully shares that when we start helping and causing the reality of a person, we become the Paramashiva of their life. Swami beautifully says that the first constitutional law of KAILASA, of the United States of KAILASA, is you living your right, you having the fundamental right that you are Paramashiva. You have the fundamental right to live and manifest yourself as Paramashiva. And it is your responsibility to treat the others around you as Paramashiva. Not only that, but you have the right to be respected and treated as Paramashiva. And so when you start living this truth, Swami beautifully gave a one-liner. You're not hero for everyone in the world. You are the hero for the people who are dependent on you, for the people who see you, who are directly influenced and enriched by your life. And so when you start manifesting the reality, helping the people, the physical problems, the real problem, practical problems of the people around you, helping them to manifest the reality they want, naturally you become Paramashiva for them. And when you start becoming Paramashiva for them, you're automatically causing and enriching the reality which you want. You become Paramashiva for yourself. And that is literally what Swamiji is doing. You have to feel the essence of it. That is all Swamiji is. He is causing each and every one of our realities continuously through various programs, through various powerful cognitions, through various understandings. Swamiji is continuously again and again, reminding us the true identity of ourselves, that we are Paramashiva. And it is a fundamental right to live, manifest the space of Paramashiva, and treat others also in the same space. Give them the understanding, make them also realize that they are Paramashiva.
Yes. That was so beautiful, Maharaj. It was so beautiful where you were sharing, like, when you are actually helping someone to manifest their reality, what happens to you? You said that, like, talking to them and understanding their problems and just like letting Swamiji flow through you. Actually, it's not that you have to think on what you're going to speak to that person and how I'm going to convince that person. It's not like you have to think through and make a plan for enriching the other person. It doesn't work that way. Just decide, okay, Swamiji, I'm going to talk to this person. You just flow through me and talk whatever is needed for that person, whatever that person needs to hear, whatever is needed for that person. Just flow through me and manifest for that person. You just decide this and sit in front of that person and just start talking. Swamiji will literally take over you and do whatever needs to be done for that other person. It's like whenever I'm talking to some person, whether it's a power manifestation or for helping them with any kind of a spiritual solution or anything, it's never that I'm actually sitting and planning on what I'm going to talk to that person. It's just that when I sit in front of that person, Swamiji flows and just talks whatever is needed to be told to the other person. That is how it always has happened, and that is how that person will actually manifest what that person actually needs to manifest in their life. Like you were saying, the teamly, when we started the session, you first mentioned the teamly and the family. So you have the people in your life who you are working with closely every day, like who you are interacting with every day. They are your teamly and family. So your team and family, both of them put together as team. So whoever you're working with, just spending a few minutes with them every day, enriching them, causing their realities for them to manifest. That will make you manifest your reality. That is the most beautiful way and the most powerful way to manifest what you want in your life. When you enrich another person and cause their reality, it's automatically causing your own reality. You don't have to do anything else for that. Like it's like Swamiji says, when we do Swamiji's work, Swamiji is already doing our work. We literally do not do anything else other than that. And it's not only that we are doing it's any kind of work. It's very simple. It's just enriching and causing people and
I welcome you all with my love and respect. Let you all open all your three eyes.
Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Paramashivoham.
Yeah, we're back. Sorry for the technical glitch. And just to continue on what Principal Maharaj was sharing, if you want to become a great doctor, you study the books about becoming a doctor, and more than that, you look at the people who have become successful doctors. You analyze their life, you try to practice some of the things they practice in the daily life to achieve what they achieved in their life. The same thing with any field. If you want to become a great architect, you look up to those who have become great architects. If you want to become a great engineer, look up to the people who have been great engineers. Look up to them for inspiration. If you want to become a great movie director, then you study the works of previous directors and you learn from their knowledge, their experience, and what they have. In the same way, when you want to manifest Paramashiva, when you want to literally be Swamiji himself, you want to radiate that space of Nithyananda Paramashivam, then it is only by doing what Swamiji is doing will you manifest the same thing. If you just take Swamiji's whole life, not just the public life alone, from the time Swamiji happened on this planet Earth, everything Swamiji has done was not for himself. The whole purpose of Swamiji happening on this planet is to give us superconscious breakthrough. The whole life of Swamiji is nothing but a great yada, which he is doing, so that all of us can experience the space of Paramashivoham, so that all of us can have the superconscious breakthrough, and also realize that we do not need to live with all these sufferings, all these teachings. Fundamentally, humans cannot raise themselves by themselves. It is only when the divine reaches down and gives their hand can we be pulled up and can we be raised to the higher consciousness. Up to this much, from the time we have happened, from small organisms, from being an amoeba, over the many thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years of evolution, we have come to this state of human. But going further, it is only when the divine comes down and raises us, helps us to come up to the space of divine, can the next evolution in species happen. And that is exactly what Swami is doing. He has come down to give us all the spiritual breakthrough, to help us all realize our space of Paramashivoham. So when you start practicing, when you start doing what the Supreme Court of Hinduism, if fundamentally, if you just take Swamiji's life, what is Swamiji's life doing? From the time you wake up in the morning, the number of programs, practices, everything which is happening throughout the day, everything Swamiji is doing is for others. Everything Swamiji is doing, whether it be the ashrams which are being built, be it the classes which are being taken, be it even the building of the KAILASA, it is all for all of us. There's nothing Swamiji needs or can take from all of us. It is only his love for all of us. He is continuously building, and creating all of this infrastructure, not just physical infrastructure, but even the spiritual infrastructure as well, so that all of us can realize this. And so the same way, how Swamiji is continuously going on without break, causing and manifesting, enriching all of us, and causing and making our realities as reality, causing and making all of our dreams, all of what we want to happen, what we want to manifest, making that as a reality. Naturally, you also become Swamiji. You also start manifesting the space of Nithyananda Paramashivam.
Yes, Maharaj. Now,
actually, even the power manifestation, when you take it, we are chanting the Mahavakya and we are doing the power manifestation. That is literally what Swamiji is doing. Swamiji, through all the powers and gifts and everything showered by Paramashiva, all the powers, the 463 powers of Paramashiva, using that for what purpose? Just to help others, to enrich. Whole power, as we discussed earlier, the whole power manifestation science happens to start manifesting powers only when you decide that your life is for others. And so, literally, when we are saying Nithyananda Paramashivam, when we are chanting the Mahavakya, you are literally invoking, remembering Swami's presence, because that is the exact same thing what you're going to be doing. through the power of third eye, through the power of Paramashiva, manifesting and creating the reality of the other person.
Yes, Maharaj. So as you mentioned, the power manifestation, that is where anyone can have the breakthrough in their life. Just by chanting the Mahavakya and remembering Swamiji, you can manifest your reality and you can make others also manifest their reality by doing the causing and energy. Just when you are talking to another person for making them into the space of completion or calling them for attending any of the programs that is happening from KAILASA, from the Supreme Font of Hinduism's offering, anything it might be, just chanting the Mahavakya, invoking Swamiji in yourself, invoking the Supreme Font of Hinduism, and just deciding to manifest. That is all that is needed to cause and enrich another person. It is like when you are in control of yourself, when you are in, it's not only just, I should not say control of yourself, like when you know yourself, you can help the other person the best. Only when you know what problems there is, you can even attend to those problems. Still, you know what the problem is, you cannot even attend to the problem. As Mangala Maharaj said, like when you know what the problem is, you'll be able to solve the problem. Like more than 50% of the problem is already solved when you just know the problem, when you just know the root of the problem. That is all that you need to do, and that is what Swamiji is here for. That is what Swamiji is showing us, the way to manifest our realities and to manifest what we want in our life. Just chanting the Mahavakya, invoking Swamiji's Supreme Font of Hinduism, and he will show us what to do. We don't literally need to do anything. This even constant enriching is like a power manifestation. It's not like some other practice that you have to do. It's just a power manifestation that you can use even casually in your life. You can just casually do. It's like what the doctors are already doing. Like if you see any of the doctors or anyone who is in the medical field, who is with KAILASA, they can just manifest the powers and heal, see the what the problem the other person is facing. And most of the times it's that wrong diagnosis happens and so many things like this happen. Just by this power of enriching and causing, just connecting with Swamiji and enriching the other person through these powers. That is all that is needed to make the person like heal and enriching that other person with Swamiji's power and energy. That's all that is needed. So this is something really powerful, like conquering your own life, taking like the power of your own life. That is what is the meaning of enriching and cause.
Yes, very beautiful, Maharaj. And on this topic, we've been talking about the various accomplishments, various things Swami has manifested. So coming specifically on one, which I'm sure pretty much all of you are already aware of, the recent United Nations Summit, which had happened in Geneva, where a group of ambassadors of the United States of KAILASA went and represented Supreme Font of Hinduism, went and represented the state of KAILASA in the United Nations, in the International Forum, where the meeting which was convened was for the empowerment of women and for gender equality rights. And so actually, Supreme Font of Hinduism, much before, during the beginning of the Sangha, of the public Sangha, of the start of the revival of KAILASA mission, has not just given empowerment for women, but has given the correct definition of feminism. Reviving Hindu feminism as it was practiced so many thousands of years ago in Sanatana Hindu Dharma. Our ancient rishis, the people who did this research, not just in the outer field, but in the inner field as well, understanding the purpose of each and every being, understanding the feminine energy as well. One of the biggest traditions, one of the biggest practices which Hinduism has is the mother worship. Mother worship is one thing which is there in Hinduism, which you can take across no other tradition, no other sampradaya, no other religion practices mother worship. And it is, Swami says again and again, it is because of mother worship Hinduism has been able to stay alive and thrive for so many thousands of years. It is not only understanding Devi Parashakti, the ultimate energy, the ultimate feminine energy, not just understanding, cognizing, relating, and connecting with her, but also understanding how she is manifesting in the form of each and every being, in the form of each and every woman. And actually, Maharaj, each and every Navaratri, each and every one of those 9 days, the puja happens to Devi in the form of girl, puja happens to Devi in the form of person, and puja happens to Devi in the form of a married woman as well. And Devi is worshipped in each and every aspect of a woman's life. Which sampradaya, which tradition in the world carries feminism itself at such a level? And we can even have, even if you take the historic references and the stories of Hindu feminism in Sanatana Dharma. But would you like to actually narrate the story of Satyavan Savitri? I think that is a very beautiful example of Hindu feminism and how not just the narration or spreading the awareness, telling these historic happenings and events which had happened so many thousands of years ago, but how it is bringing not only chastity but also importantly, it is bringing a validation to the ancient practices, to how Hindu feminism used to be practiced and how supreme part of Hinduism is reviving and bringing it back today.
Yes. So that is the very beautiful story of Satyavan Savitri, where the chastity she had towards her husband, when her husband left his body and he was being taken by Lord Yama. He was being taken, and just with the power of her chastity, she declared and decided that he should not leave his body. He should not be taken. Swami says that he declared that the sun should not set till her husband comes back to life. So that is what is the power of chastity. So not only that, there are so many stories in Hinduism itself, and Swamiji says the power of a chaste woman is more powerful than a Shiva Bhakta. Even when Markandeya, even when if you see Markandeya itself, when Markandeya was being taken by Yamadharma, only when he caught Paramashiva's Murti, the Linga Shiva Linga, only then Paramashiva came and he had to kill Yamadharma. Only when he killed Lord Yama, only then he was able to save Markandeya's life. So the power of a Shiva Bhakta is also not compared to a chaste woman. That is what Swamiji says. That is so powerful. The chastity, a feminine energy is so powerful. This is not there in any other religion. This is not there in any other place you see. It's only there in Hinduism. If you see in Hinduism, we worship Mother. Swami says that he is himself as a Shakta. The supreme point of Hinduism himself is a Shakta. Though we are worshipping, all of us are worshipping Shiva and other gods also, but Swamiji himself, the supreme point of Hinduism himself, is a Shakta, means a mother worshipper. That is why if you see each and every of our Navaratri celebration and any celebration that is related to feminine energy, whether it is Rajarajeshwari Brahmotsavam or Meenakshi Brahmotsavam or Navaratri, any of the feminine mother worship related Brahmotsavam or festivals that we celebrate in Kailasa, that will be like the most grandest event that will be happening in the year. Of all the events that you see, of all the festivals that you see, the mother, where we worship the mother energy, that will be something different, and that will be something really, really special. Each and every night of the Navaratri, we will be like, that will be like the most auspicious nights and the most celebrated nights of Kailasa itself. And the whole Navaratri celebration is like the supreme point of Hinduism, one of the favorite celebrations of the whole year itself. The mother worship, the Navaratri and the Vijayadashami and all the events that happen during the Navaratri, the Darbar. Swamiji himself used to sit and like conduct and be there for the whole thing when the Navaratri is happening and when the Darbar or the Pujas or the Homas that are happening during the whole event. Swamiji, supreme point of Hinduism, himself sits through the whole thing and like does all the rituals. So this is something really which only Hinduism has.
Actually, we should understand exactly what Hinduism defines as Hindu feminism, as chastity especially. when it comes to women and Hindu feminism. And we're going to be looking more about exactly what is Hindu feminism, as well as the representation and what happened, just having the glimpse of the United Nations Convention which happened in Geneva, specifically on this topic of women empowerment and gender equality. So we're going to be coming back to you after a short break, where we're going to be expanding on these major two things and also covering more on the Convention of the United Nations. So please stay tuned. We'll be back in short.
I welcome you all with my love and respect. Let you all open all your three eyes. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Paramashivoham. 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 Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham.
Yes, Nithyananda, we're back. In the previous segment, just before we had the break, myself and Professor Kamaraj, we had been explaining and going a little bit in depth about true Hindu feminism and how the Supreme Council of Hinduism is reviving the Hindu feminism. Not only that, but we also touched upon the presentation of United States of KAILASA in the international forums of the United Nations by a team, a group of ambassadors and heads of states of the United States of KAILASA. During the presentation, various delegates and ambassadors of the United States of KAILASA presented and spoke with many of the people. I spoke in the meeting itself of women empowerment and gender equality, highlighting the different various ways the Hindu indigenous women have been persecuted over the past generations, as well as how the Supreme Court of Hinduism is surviving and bringing legitimacy to these persecuted traditions and persecuted religions. If we see in many different ways, many different aspects, the first one majority being that the number of leadership positions in the United States of KAILASA is given to mostly to women. Many of those positions are being held by women. And these were one of the major problems, major things which, if you listen to the whole meeting which was conducted in the United Nations, the presentation by different states and different heads of state and different ambassadors in the meeting, many of them are working and trying to work very hard in terms of bringing equality and bringing a certain amount of balance, especially in terms of decision making and in the politics of their region, politics of their parents. Because only the who has not only successfully, but is giving the right balance of where the feminine energy, where the leadership positions need the mother energy and support. Swamiji beautifully says many times that whatever successful organization is there, whatever successful corporation is there, anything which is successful, there is one chaste woman behind the whole thing and running, making it happen. And so if you see many of the delegates who represented KAILASA in the United Nations meeting, many of them are holding esteemed positions and esteemed places and representing KAILASA. In this next segment now, we're going to be listening directly from these ambassadors, from the heads of state of various places of KAILASA, where they themselves are going to be sharing their experience as well as what has happened, what their experience and from the United Nations themselves. So get ready. In this next segment, after a short break, we're going to be hearing from these representatives of the KAILASA nation, from the United Nations for Hindus. Stay tuned, we'll be back shortly.
I welcome you all with my love and respect. Let you all open all your three eyes. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham.
Nithyanandam, everyone. Let's start. We'll start this segment with the Sadguru Vandanam. Nithyanandam Paramasukhadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrusham Tattvamasya Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Triguya Rahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Yes. Nithyanandam, everyone. It's good to see you all. A very warm welcome to everyone that is connected via YouTube, Facebook, all other online platforms, and of course in the Paramashivoham room, enjoying, awaiting darshan of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. That will happen very, very soon. So just before that, we have a short time with you all in today's segment we have some more of KAILASA's delegates that have participated and some that are still participating at the United Nations in Geneva, Switzerland. So I trust I'm audible and you can see me. So for those of you who don't know me and I'm new to you, my name is Manitya Atmadayananda and I am the head of KAILASA in the United Kingdom. So our wonderful guests that we have today in this segment, let me introduce. So we have the head of KAILASA Los Angeles, Her Excellency Ma Nitya Muktikananda, head of KAILASA St. Louis, Her Excellency Ma Sona Kamath, head of KAILASA Slovenia, Her Excellency Ma Nitya Priya Premananda, and we have a head of KAILASA France, Her Excellency Ma Nitya Venkateshananda. And we also have a head KAILASA's ambassador to Slovakia, Her Excellency Ma Diana Sullivan. Of course, we do have a very special guest that I'm going to reveal to you in a bit. But before that, and it's a little surprise. She has come. It's KAILASA's permanent ambassador to the United Nations, Her Excellency Ma Vijayapriya Nithyananda. So just before we start, I'm honored to be back again to share and hear more about the experiences from participating in the sessions of the United Nations in Geneva, Switzerland, and meeting dignitaries and influential persons. So apart, you've heard from me in the past couple of days, and we'll be hearing from the others as well. Just to set the context a bit, the United Nations has made significant efforts towards achieving world peace through various means such as peacekeeping operations, conflict resolution, and humanitarian aid. Now, diplomacy is the practice of conducting negotiations, managing international relations, and resolving disputes between different countries or groups in a peaceful and diplomatic manner. It involves using communication, compromise, and negotiation to achieve mutually beneficial outcomes and to maintain positive relationships between different nations. The aim of diplomacy is to promote peace, stability, and cooperation among countries, and to address global issues such as trade, security, and human rights. And who better than the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism to do this? The role of a global peace leader is complex, of course, and requires various skills, such as we've just talked about diplomacy, communication, negotiation, and conflict resolution. While some individuals may have demonstrated exceptional leadership skills in promoting peace and harmony, it is important to acknowledge that achieving world peace requires the collective efforts of all individuals and communities, which is why the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is working diligently to unite nations. It is essential to promote mutual respect and understanding among different cultures and religions to work together toward a peaceful and sustainable world, which, again, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has already demonstrated through decades of contribution that he has already made, and put very simple implementable systems in place demonstrated through various temple-based living that we have. So the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is playing an essential role on behalf of the 2 billion Hindus in promoting peace and understanding among different cultures and communities. United States of Kailasa and the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism encourage mutual respect, compassion, and empathy. It is important to recognize that achieving world peace requires the participation of all individuals and communities, regardless of religious affiliations or personal beliefs. Collective integrity is the need of the hour. United States of Kailasa, spearheaded by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, can unite humanity into a collective integrated space with ease, for sure. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is promoting peace through interfaith dialogues, humanitarian work, conflict resolution, and much, much more, with many such empowering initiatives. Now, if you haven't already decided to jump in and be part of this amazing initiative, please do. There's always a link that is projected to yourself, and the link is sksjp.org/contribute. Now, without further ado, I'm really excited to hear more from all of the delegates that have been to Geneva, that are still in Geneva. And I'll start with our esteemed guest, the Kailasa's permanent ambassador to the United Nations, Her Excellency Ma Vijayapriya Nithyananda. Welcome to this segment. Would love to hear from you about the hours before the event that we had last week. Of course, yourself, you've been working with diplomatic relations for a while now, so there is something special about the last couple of weeks. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear your overall experience that you've had so far and how it's been for you.
Definitely, Ma Atmadaya, and thank you so much for setting the context so beautifully. And I feel this was a huge breakthrough, not only for the United States of Kailasa and for Hindus, but also for the whole of humanity. I mean, again and again, I like to emphasize that the United States of Kailasa, as the only sovereign Hindu state, is the only solution for all the problems that the world is facing. And on February 22nd and on February 24th, the head of state of Kailasa, our beloved Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, presented Kailasa as the solution to the entire world at the United Nations in Geneva. And Kailasa has been working on a comprehensive report that sheds light on the centuries of ethnocide and genocide of Hindus and Hindu women, including the cultural genocide of female monastic orders, women disempowerment, the persecution of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and of the Kailasa citizens, and also about the revival of the enlightened Hindu civilizational nation by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. And the report also entails the glory of the ancient enlightened Hindu civilizational nation and the position, the power, the reverence, the respect that women, Hindu women, had in Hindu culture and tradition, and because of which the ancient Hindu nations were highly successful and highly progressive, contributing to more than 40% of the world's GDP. So Kailasa presented its unique initiatives, policies based on the Hindu scriptures, revived by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam. I mean, while writing this report, I had no idea that this was going to be such a big breakthrough for all of us. I knew that the delegates of Kailasa was going to go in Geneva and was going to present about this report. But just a few days before the conference, I was told, let's send 25 of our ambassadors to Geneva, and I was like, oh, okay, that's great. That's very exciting. I mean, the first thought that came to me was that this is going to be huge, and just the excitement that was going to be created. And just right away, I started picking up, I started, making phone calls. I mean, most of you, as you would be sharing, you've received phone calls at the last minute saying, hey, let's go to Geneva now. So, but the beautiful thing is that, everybody said yes. It was an instantaneous yes from everybody. And I feel on these 2 days, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism made a huge statement of on how women, the power of women. I mean, in Hinduism, women is Parashakti, embodiment of Parashakti, right? So this, I believe, this was a huge statement made to the entire world, where KAILASA is the only country that has 80% leadership held by women, and more than 90% of parliamentarian women. So this is actually a first. In no other countries this is the case. So I feel going to the conference room in the United Nations was a big breakthrough. It was a surprise for everybody there, but also it was a learning experience, not only for ourselves, even for people, at the United Nations, even for the statesmen, even for the diplomats at the United Nations, who don't necessarily have the right narrative about Hinduism. So, which is where, now the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, KAILASA, is setting the right narrative on the empowerment of women, on the policies that the ancient Hindu civilization had, which was met only to to bring about living sustainably, met for global peace, for everybody to be able to enjoy life, blissfully, having all the required necessities of life, and not having to live life as a struggle, which we now see. So many, I mean, there's hunger, there's poverty, and this shouldn't be the way. And when we explain this to to the statesmen, and how KAILASA has been extremely successful in providing all the necessities to its citizens, and they are really left in awe. So this was a very powerful experience for me personally. It was a huge learning experience also, and also to see how the delegates, the ambassadors of KAILASA from all across the globe just jumped in, at the last minute to represent KAILASA and to represent Swamiji at the United Nations. So yes, so thank you so much, and I'm so grateful to the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism to have given me this opportunity and this blessing to represent him on an international platform. So yes, thank you so much.
Yes, absolutely. Actually, the grandness, the grand identity of Hinduism, having that through every bit, everything that we were wearing, that we were speaking, the way we were holding ourselves, everything came together beautifully. And that word, that grandness, living life from the space of life is a celebration. And this is the powerful cognition that we've all been initiated into. And that's what Hinduism stands for. It's about having, we have abundance. We have Mahalakshmi, we have Mahavishnu. They're all in our Vedic culture, the space of abundance. It's, it is plentiful. It's being in that infinite space. That is what is alive, and bringing those powerful cognitions on this platform where there are problems such as poverty, and whilst they've been working on it for a long time, the solution hasn't been implemented. That grandness was definitely demonstrated. Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for sharing your experiences. Now I'd like to hear also from Ma Muktikananda from LA. Please do share how it was for you.
Nithyanandam, and thank you, Ma Atmadaya. Where can I start beginning to share regarding this journey, right? When you start looking back at how it began, the only thing I can think of is, where I personally started in 2009, where I actually met the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, and having said yes to meeting him at that time, I think began this entire journey. And coming to this very specific trip to Geneva, it was so sudden that, Her Excellency Ma Vijayapriya calling and then sharing with me saying, "Ma, you are coming." That's what she said. There is no option, there is no choice, there was no thinking. And personally, from within, I think that's the space where you realize there is nothing that says no. There's only the space that says yes. There was something more to look forward to and to contribute. And, to represent the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, to represent our nation, the United States of KAILASA, it is not a small thing. It is not something very trivial. And to cognize that and to internalize the importance and the significance of that, not just for us, but for the generations to come, for the future, right? This is history in the making. You suddenly cognize this reality and understand that you have been given an opportunity to be a part of it. And that's how it felt. And that's how the shift started happening very powerfully. And, the honor and the privilege that it is not us making the decision or us saying something, but it's the honor and the privilege that was bestowed upon us by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. Because with his blessings, we were representing several billion Hindus. And it was an opportunity for us to grow, to understand the world in a whole new perspective. And as earlier in the segments, we had seen how Maharaj, Sundareshwara Maharaj was sharing that, it is how they have evolved, how they have met with diplomats and others, and how that journey has happened. Similarly, it was an opportunity for us to go from, being leaders, taking care of temples and centers, to being the leaders of embassies and being part of a nation, and to understand this. So it actually, interestingly enough, it made me very quiet. It made me quieter. It brought about a calm, and it was something where I think I started internalizing a lot more. So there was a lot of this understanding and evolution that started happening within, a sense of grounding, right? So which I've noticed every time I have met with the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, or I have attended various diplomatic sessions, this feeling starts coming up. So it's a process that evolves. And, as I contemplated the significance of this historic event, and what a powerful statement to make in front of the entire world. How proudly we stood as Hindu women, proudly wearing our tradition and engaging on a global platform with dignitaries from various nations. This is absolutely history in the making. And it is such a proud moment to represent the United States of KAILASA. And having been in contact and talking to many mayors and senators and others here in Los Angeles, it showed actually how much we had to learn and how much we have to understand the need for global diplomacy, for harmony, coexistence, for sharing to the world about ahimsa, which the United States of KAILASA stands for, right? And how this helps us as we progress in manifesting our alliances, our bond with other nations, as a nation ourselves. So from the moment that I was called, I knew I was going to be there. There was nothing that said no. It was only a yes, like Her Excellency Ma Vijayapriya was sharing. And it is just a matter of making the arrangements, the simple things. And I was very happy that I didn't have to go for a visa. I didn't have to go do the runaround. And it was, pretty easy for us to just, take the passport, book a ticket, and you board the flight, you're on it. That's about it. But that's how easy it was. And it was just a matter of a couple of days to make this happen. And, so that essentially, I think, was the excitement was within, but it was, centered around a calmness in how we are being raised to the next level, right? And so I was on the flight and on my way to Geneva in 2 days' time. And once we got to Geneva, it was actually a reunion, I would say, which always happens in our nation through various diplomatic, relations that happen with all the Guru Behens, everybody who has come from various parts of the world, who is representing each embassy of Kailasa. And it was such an amazing space to be in the presence of and to be together, sharing and collaborating with each one. And each and every one, there you go, there's the picture of all of us sitting and, figuring out what we were going to do. And for us to make this journey, to stand for the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and to stand for the United States of Kailasa. And each one having said, yes, this is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Very rightfully said, the SPH was sharing with the world that Kailasa is the solution that the entire world needs to imbibe and to benefit from. So this is what I experienced, and this is the most experiencing aspect of the trip as I, went to Geneva. So that's what I had to share, Atmadea.
Yes, thank you so much, Ma. And seeing the photo just now, that brought back all of the, the feeling of all of us being together, making very the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was very much right there with us in every person. The 25 heads, 50 hands, and 75 eyes. Everything like what you just mentioned, Muktika, that there is a calmness, there is a absolute steadiness, stability there internally, even though there is a lot of insecurity outside in terms of not knowing what's going to happen next, not having figured everything out, not needing to figure everything out, right? And solving anything that comes up, right? And any issue that comes up or any problem that needs to be resolved, it was always solution based. Everyone there that was there collectively solution based, and that's what made the whole thing flow so beautifully, work so seamlessly without needing to do any extra planning. There wasn't like doing hours of meeting. It was like, okay, half an hour meeting, this is what we need to get done, tuck, tuck, next, and many times planning on the go. That's the beauty of being dynamically living in the moment. Not, it's like if you have to plan everything, by the time you plan and everything, we planned many times, we did plan and it didn't quite go how it was meant to go, so we recreated something else in that moment spontaneously, right? And of course we have Ma Nitya Priya Prema. Thank you so much, Ma Muktika, for sharing. And we have Ma Priya Prema here as well. Her Excellency, if you'd like to share from what happened for you in those few days. And I am hearing one thing and one thing only, and I would say that Her Excellency Ma Nitya Priya Premananda actually said a very loud yes. not very far from Switzerland. Still, I will let Ma Priya Premananda share herself, but I can hear a reverberating yes even now. So please do share your experiences.
Yes, Nithyananda, thank you, Mahatma Dayananda, and thank you all so much for this opportunity to be part of this most exciting segment. So, firstly, I want to offer my deepest gratitude to the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagadguru Mahasannidhanam Nithyananda Paramashivam, for choosing me to take part of this extraordinary historic happening that is unfolding in Geneva. So my respect also, of course, to Her Excellency Mavijaya Priya, who has been tirelessly and gracefully guiding us through all of this. So on Saturday, I got a call from Her Excellency conveying that I was blessed to be invited to Geneva. And I did not hesitate to say yes. and immediately made arrangements at work and reserved a flight. So it was just instantaneously. It was clear yes, very loud yes. And at that point, I didn't even, think about asking for any details, what it is about, what we will be doing, anything, because I never say no to the auspicious opportunities presented by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. I just say yes, and then whatever unfolds, unfolds. And of course, what unfolded, it is beyond of what I have, expected or thought it could be. And basically saying yes, this has been my experience. That is how I run my life, simply collecting all the fruits of his compassion and enjoying every bite of it. So, and this, you know, I would say this opportunity was a big bite, and it was the greatest blessing and the greatest pride to represent the United States of KAILASA in Geneva, and to be sitting in the United Nations Hall and, all together just standing for Hindus, standing for the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. It is just overwhelming. It is just such a joy, such a pride. It's just if you're not a part of it, you're missing life, because this is really where everything is happening right now.
Yes, absolutely. Ma Priya Prema, I felt the same, like life. Yesterday I was saying that I feel like I haven't sat down to work it out fully yet, but it's like more life, more, my brain cells have woken up. I feel like there's more oxygen going into my inner space. And many, like, it's like, when a tree gets shaken and all the dead stuff comes out. It's like all the dead stuff is gone just by saying a simple yes. And jumping in new life energy has literally surged through the system. So Mapriya Prema, I absolutely appreciate what you're saying. And of course, you're there in Geneva still, and you've made a lot of lifestyle changes. We will share about that in a moment. We also have Her Excellency Ma Nithya Venkateshananda, who has a similar experience of saying yes. I would like to hear from you how it was for you, what arrangements happened, and how it all flowered and unfolded for you.
Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you for the opportunity to share. And first of all, I want to thank the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism for this incredible experience. I want to thank also Her Excellency Jaya Priya, and she's doing an extraordinary and very precious diplomatic work. So I want to thank also the 17 beautiful beings who said a big yes to Geneva. And also I want to thank Francophone Sangha for the sweet words and the support I received. So it's literally two big yes for me, because I was back to Paris last Friday, but in the plane I had a special call. I think Swamiji called me in the plane. I felt like I had to go back for this week. When I saw the program of this week, and I saw all the representative of all the works of the world that will be in Geneva, I had to go back. I sent a message to Ma Vijaya Priya, and so I'm back in Geneva, and it's quite intense, I must say. So about the first yes, when Ma Vijaya Priya, Her Excellency, called me on Saturday asking me to go to Geneva as soon as possible, I said directly, without any thinking, as Mahatma Daya, you said, directly a big yes. And it was literally a big jump into the unknown, a big yes to represent KAILASA. And I was part of the first Geneva mission 4 years ago. When we planted seeds, we were 10 people from France, and we sat in the UN for the first time. So I had nothing to think of not being there. So I was so excited, and I let go of all. I was in a billionaire formation during 10 days just the day before, but I really, I was supposed to take action in this way, but I understood it was more important to go to Geneva. So I heard very clearly the first words, the last words of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism in the 1st of January satsang. Let's focus on diplomatic relationships. And I'm literally amazed on how it happens by itself. So for me, it was for all of us, it was literally a jump in the unknown. It was like a parachute jump, I don't know if you have already did this kind of thing. At the first time, it's quite uncomfortable when you jump in the air, but when the parachute opens, it's like you have the sea, the 360-degree sea around you, and this experience was this kind of excitement. It was very intense. The big surprise I had is when I went to the house, I saw all the women from the USA here. It was a very big surprise for me. I was mind blown to see them because I knew there is so much so small time to take this decision. It takes me a few minutes to realize and to recognize them. It was a gift to me to be there with all these empowered women. And really, I thank you and you all. And I'm full of gratitude to the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism for this incredible opportunity to represent KAILASA in this place where everything is dedicated to human rights and peace, and where KAILASA has so much solutions to share with the entire world for humanity. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much, Ma Nithya Venkatesharananda, for sharing. What I got from what you just now explained is just 2-3 words that have struck out for me. It's the yes, saying the yes, which we've all clearly, that is our first starting point, saying yes to life. And then it's the word intense. So it's the intensity that is happening. So I'm myself calibrating, what has happened. So it's the extra, my brain cells opening up, and extra what I'm experiencing is the intensity of the initiation, the power of saying yes, and allowing the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism to flow and rush through this space, allowing that to happen, right? So, and we have also thank you so much, Ma Nithya Venkatesharananda, for sharing. And these are the few words I've got, the yes, saying having that intensity, and things falling into place easily. And then we have Her Excellency Ma Sona Kamath. We'd love to hear from you as well, how it was for you, because you had quite a lot of shifts that you had to do. So we'd love to hear from you.
Thank you, and Nithyananda Ma Atmadaya, and to all of you, a good afternoon, morning, whatever the time may be, wherever you are. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for this opportunity, Ma Atmadaya, to share our experiences. And of course, as always, thank you, Swamiji, for the experience. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, when he gives you an experience, it's always extraordinary. And this is no exception, of course. So like the others, Ma, I too received a call out of the blue on a Friday evening from Her Excellency Ma Vijayapriya to see if I would like to go to Geneva. And of course, my immediate reaction was yes, but then all this flood of questions and thought processes that kind of came in with, when is it? When will we go? And she said, next week, Ma. Well, of course, next week was the busiest week that I had for all of the first quarter of 2023. There were so many programs that week that I personally had managed to schedule and arrange, and I was supposed to chair. And so immediately I was thinking, how can I go next week, with all these programs? But in true Swamiji fashion, everything happened easily and effortlessly. And there was nothing that could compare, and of course, nothing that surpassed the excitement that I was feeling at the possibility of going to Geneva. And that too for a mission for the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism to be able to represent our Sangha and to represent Kailasa. I knew that there would never be an opportunity like this. And so when the silence was broken by Mom Vijaya saying, Her Excellency saying, Ma, say yes. My heart just melted. And I knew then and there that there was nothing that I had planned for next week that could be as important as what she was asking and as important as what was about to happen next week in Geneva. And so just like an inner awakening program, I was able to rearrange an extremely busy schedule that had taken months to put together. I was, in a matter of a few days, I was able to get airline tickets, secure lodging, all of the necessities. And I even managed to find cross coverage for an extremely busy medical practice, arrange co-chairs to run other meetings. And I could see Swamiji's hand in all of it. The amount of work that I was able to get done so efficiently, I could just completely see it was all his hand, and that he wanted us to be there to represent Hinduism, to represent the United States of Kailasa, that voice was now starting to take place. And what an amazing experience to have been part of all of that. And so, again, my deepest gratitude and thank you to Swamiji, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, and of course, to all of you for being there and making, once we got there, everything else so effortless. But yes, thank you, Ma.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing, Masona. But yeah, when we say yes and we decide to trust that everything will fall into place, just as the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has said, the space of responsibility, the space of integrity, all of these wonderful, powerful cognitions that we've been initiated into have again and again repeated in our inner space were in action. I felt that they were in action at the time. So it wasn't just, it was practical. It wasn't theory, it was practical. And seeing, I have a design background. So I've seen lots of drawings, plans. There is one thing having a concept, and then to see that drawn out, because there's lots of things to work out from concept to actually drawing, and then from drawing to having building on site. How I see this at the moment is I have listened to the vision of the vision that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has for humanity, the superconscious breakthrough. I've listened to that. I've seen it in many ways as well happening. Now, I felt at the United Nations, it's the building coming into action. So being on site, it's a different excitement altogether to be on site and see the whole thing actually physically manifesting. Masona, you want to say something?
I know exactly what you're talking about, Mahatmadea. It's kind of like, it may be an idea, an image, an impression, and then you start putting it on paper, and then for it to really see it come alive. That was exactly what we experienced. We could really feel the development of an entire nation, and we knew that we were on the ground floor of the beginning of something so extraordinary and so expansive that it was beyond us, right? Yes. It was about experiencing the birth of a nation.
Yes.
And how does one ever think about being able to be given that experience, to be part of the birth of a nation? And that's what this was.
Absolutely, it is. It is, right? So it's that I haven't been able to put it into words, but when you've shared, it's the whole image came to my mind. It's it's a concept. There's many times many things like global peace is in many ways to a certain degree a concept. which many world leaders have come together to manifest it. And here, the building works is actually on the ground and coming together for whole humanity. It is not just the people that will come because they're attracted to the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism for their own transformation, but it is for every single person that is not even yet familiar with the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. So it's
And we encountered many people like that, you know, that were just curious. They had no clue what we were, who we were, what we were about. And one of the most interesting interactions that I saw there, Ma, was with Ian, my son, who was there. And there was a lady who came up to him and asked him, you know, you aren't following certain protocol. And he said very eloquently to her, well, we are a new nation and we are learning. But, you know, when that learning is taking place and that development is taking place, it may not be as you expect it to be, but change does have to happen. And this change is an amazing change that is about to happen and that we are all in the world about to experience.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing, Masona. And we've heard from our delegates. I'd like to now remind everybody that is watching us on YouTube, that's watching on Facebook and all other live platforms, of course, also in the Paramashivoham sessions as well, inviting all of you to please come and join in, because there's plenty of room for more delegates to happen, for more of you who are out there listening, participating, engaging in this segment to join in. And it starts again with you saying a simple yes. Yes. And all of the training, the support, anything that needs to be figured out will get figured out. Easily it will get figured out. So I invite you all. There is a link that is being projected for you all. But if you're not seeing it, I'll read it out to you. It's sksjp.org/contribute. So it's sksjp.org/contribute. Please do take the first step, click on the link and say yes, and you can join in. It can be your time, your treasure, your talent, all of it. Of course, you can do that now. It doesn't necessarily have to be in the next 2 months or 3 months. Say yes now. In any which way you would like to say yes now. And there's also options for yourself to be part of the diplomatic work that we're doing. So we have the link projected to yourself. Remember, say yes. You would have heard for the past 3 days, today, yesterday, and the day before yesterday, it all started for all 17 of us. It started with the yes, and then everything else followed through. Now, of course, we've had everyone else share. You've heard from me about my personal breakthroughs. So it's not just what we went there to represent for the United States of KAILASA as delegates for the United States of KAILASA, and of course, allowing the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism to flow through each and every one of us. We also had personal breakthroughs. So I'd like to invite Her Excellency Ma Vijayapriya Nithyananda to share her personal breakthroughs that happened for her during this time, and of course, all of the time that you have been part of the diplomatic relations.
Yes, ma'am, absolutely. So I have known Swamiji since 2014, and I started by attending the inner awakening in Varanasi. That was my first inner awakening, and after the first inner awakening, I just kept going to many of these 21-day programs, all the webinars and workshops, and I really thought that it was a huge spiritual growth for me. And during all this time, I had this secret desire to become an Adinavasi, to become a KAILASA Vasi, but I was never able to take the jump. There were so many factors, holding me back, societal conditionings and all those things, right? But only recently, about 2 years ago, when I decided, that was enough, there's no other way. My life is for Swamiji, my life is Kailasa. I'm not going to have any fulfillment by being in the outside world, So when I decided to take the jump and decided to become a Kailasa Vasi, only then I understood how much I missed by being in the outside world. And so, see, my background is microbiology, and I never ever thought I would be doing diplomatic work. I would be meeting with ambassadors, with head of states, with presidents, prime ministers, MFAs, talking to them, enriching them about Hinduism, Kailasa, Swamiji. I grew up as a Hindu, and and I had so many questions, about Hinduism, why things are done in a certain way, why people are saying, like this about Hinduism and so on. But no one was able to give me the answer. But Swamiji was able to give all the answers, as per the Hindu scriptures. And, and just now being able to represent Swamiji, being able to, represent Kailasa, and being able to share the authentic Hinduism to the entire world, that is the fulfillment of my life. And just the way, Swamiji is holding me as part of, as part of his family, it cannot be experienced, other than being an Adinavasi, other than being part of the Kailasa ecosystem. So, and, after coming to Geneva, I just thought, I would be here for a few days. I will complete these 2 conferences and go back to Washington, DC. But then, I was blessed to, set up the Adinam here, the Kailasa Geneva here in Geneva, set up the Adinam. And this was a huge blessing. This was a huge opportunity. We've had so many new Kailasa Vasis signing up as well to, to be in Geneva. And again, just when asking people, hey, would you like to stay back? Would you like to become part of Kailasa? Would you like to become an Adinavasi? There's just the pure yes from people, right? So still, we still have a delegation of Kailasa here in Geneva. So whoever is interested, please do sign up. And what I can say is, life with Swamiji is too exciting. It's a journey not to be missed. And so that's, yes, that's what I would like to share. Thank you.
Yes. See, it's a continuation of yeses, isn't it? It's not, we don't just stop at one yeses. In listening to yourself, I can hear that during a day, in the whole of a day, like 24 hours, there are many no's that are there. No to this, no to that, no this, no that, right? So when there is that many no's, when life is presenting opportunities and there are certain no's, then it means that what needs to be done doesn't get done quickly. The continuation of saying yes to life, when we see life happening and the opportunities are there jumping in, is when we see things moving forward. And like you said yourself, that there's a desire to be an Adinavasi, and you saw the obstacles. Those obstacles are removed just by a simple yes. Everything that needs to dissolve is dissolved, and it's a quick, like, of course we'll hear from Ma Priya Prema as well, then Ma Venkatesha, when they've said a quick yes, everything that needs to be organized is quickly done. It's not a case of, okay, this is going to take, I will need X amount of time to speak to X amount of people and arrange this, arrange that, whatever, right? It's a yes, and it's quick and it's done, and within a couple of days you're there, correct? So it's that, and the continuation of this, which is where we see any area of our life will move only when there is not this desire to have things set first and move. right? And then we have also Ma Nitya Muktikananda, Her Excellency Ma Nitya Muktikananda. I'd love to hear from you about your breakthrough that you had, because you, of course, have a huge temple in Los Angeles, and you would have, it's not a short flight for yourself, it's all the way across America, and then it's halfway across Europe. So it's not even for me, it was a 1.5 hour flight, but for yourself, I was thinking about it. So it's like a day and a half. It's not even 1.5 hours, but it's probably a day and a half of traveling end to end. How was that for you, and what kind of breakthroughs did you experience?
Well, it was a little less than a day as far as the journey itself was concerned. And we had just finished celebrating the Hindu festival of Paramashivoham. And so we were already on a high. We were in a very ecstatic mood when we were, when I was getting ready. And all I did was get on the plane, and I was in a very blissful samadhi state and ready for Geneva when we landed. And so it actually worked out perfectly well. Actually, speaking with diplomats or speaking with ambassadors, others in permanent missions of nations that are in Geneva at the UN, I don't think I've ever cognized that as something that was for me or was something that I was going to be a part of, right? Yes, each step of the journey has been where the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, as he personally guides every disciple, every person, devotee who comes, there has always been a constant encouragement and a guidance that has come. And it's been a growth that has been seen from within me, from where I was 10, 15 years ago to where I am today. And it is definitely, it has to do with being a part of, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism's ecosystem, and being able to internalize the teachings and the values. And the one thing in all this, I kept asking, and that came up to me, that made me feel very strong, was that this has to be done. And it is time for this to get done. What we were here for in Geneva, what was the purpose of coming there? It came to me that this needed to be done, and I have to be a part of it. It is time that we stand strong against the persecution that has been put on the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and on the United States of KAILASA and its citizens, right? Which is so many billion Hindus. So how long will the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and the Hindu community undergo a persecution where there is no voice on the global platform, right? And how can that be that we remain a voiceless community? That was a question that was part of my internal, clicks and understandings. And if we are not active, if we are not involved, if we do not stand up against the persecution, against, the forces of nature that, are not supporting growth and harmony and ahimsa, then who will? Right? And that was the question that came up for me. And that was what I was going through as I contemplated. And, Hinduism teaches us the fundamentals of manifesting a life with the highest possibilities, right? And the space to live that life to the fullest and in the most empowering way. So when Hinduism is teaching us that, then why can't we apply it in our lives to see where it takes us? And this is the cognition with which I came. This was the click and, the context that I set for myself. This trip to the United Nations has actually helped me understand that even deeper, the battle for justice that we are fighting, the need for global peace, and how many more communities are actually out there that are also battling for justice, right? You get the awareness, you get the understanding that, oh my God, there are so many others out there who need the same help, who need support, and who need a voice. And So it is about how many more communities are going through this and how do we come together, building alliances and cooperating for global peace, harmony, coexistence. And Kailasa stands for life that is built on the Hindu principles of ahimsa. We build our existence based on being integrated, being authentic in our approach, being responsible, and enriching ourselves and holding the space for others. And this brings us to the experience of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, where you are, the whole world is one, is my family. And what will you do for your family? And, what I saw there that really made a deep impact and made the trip very memorable was also that how many people were really wowed when we came representing our traditions, the way we carried ourselves, the way we stood strong, really created an impact, and people have not forgotten it. And that context of authentically living the Hindu lifestyle was just beautiful, really beautiful. And there is so much to learn. Let me put it out there to everybody. There is an amazing amount of information to be learned, amazing amount of information from Hinduism itself, that we need to internalize and radiate, that you understand when you put yourself to experiencing it. And, it gives us a very good understanding of what are the issues that exist in today's world, right? What is it that, as being part of the United States of Kailasa, how do you, bring these solutions to people? Being the representatives, it becomes our responsibility to actually make this available to the entire world. And, it means figuring out the solutions. And I've truly felt that I can be part of those solutions, and that I know that everybody who is listening and everybody who is going to hear this conversation of ours should also know that they can be a part of it also, right? They can be part of the solution. We are here to show that, and we were here to experience it for ourselves and share with everybody. And above all, it is the constant cognition that a living avatar, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, was guiding us through it all. His presence, his energy, his teachings, the values that he has, he's experientially, helping us internalize and understand, that is precious. That is what you need in life. And all we had to do was just flow with this cosmic happening and be a part of this entire saga. And this is history. So this is what I felt was the most powerful things that I kind of cognized as I went through this journey.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing, Muktika. I experienced that what you're saying, the all-inclusiveness, non-violence, ahimsa, all of these exact cosmic principles that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is reviving for all of us to live, it was demonstrated with us all there, because we all, like I said, you all come from different backgrounds, but we were all included, brought together as very quickly. It's not like we've lived together for a long time, and that's why we have synchronicity between all of us. We just had this understanding, which it's a thread that kept us all together, and that was the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and the energy that he has bestowed on all of us, the initiation he's bestowed on of us, the powerful cognitions that we've been bestowed on. All of that was keeping us together, and that was obvious to see, right? Yes, and absolutely everybody that's watching on YouTube, Facebook, you are in Paramashivoham on any other platform. If you're lying down comfortably, time to sit up, click on the link and join in and be part of this amazing happening that is really, you don't want to be in a 6 months time, or even in a month's time, even a week's time, not even 24 hours later going, I should have signed up for that. Do it now. Please do. The link will be projected for you. So if you're not seeing the link, it is sksjp.org/contribute. Say yes and the rest will happen in the time, treasure, talent, all of that will fall into place. And of course, you've heard Ma Muktika say that she didn't think that she would be doing any of this work. And I was just thinking at that time that, usually when it comes to a career change, if you're going to change your career from one thing to another, like, Ma Vijayapriya Nithyananda had mentioned that she comes from a different background, scientific background, microbiology. Muktika, you come from a different background. I come from a design background, and I'm sure everybody here that's a delegate is from a different background. Changing your career in the normal world takes time, takes many accreditations and all sorts of courses that one needs to go through, and it takes time, etc., etc. But here we are switching the leadership roles and responsibilities just like that, just like that, without having to think too much, plan too much, with the grace of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, being able to download the intelligence that's needed, align and be there available in a very powerful manner to make things happen and roll things out, right? So it's exciting to be part. Now, we've heard from Muktika. Would love to hear now from Priya Prema. What was the breakthrough you had? Now, I have a little bit of an inclination in terms of the breakthrough, but I will not spoil the surprise. I shall let you share. Please do. We'd love to hear from you.
Yes, thank you, Ma. Yes, it sure has been such an amazing journey, full of breakthroughs. Simply, upgrades are happening every single moment, not only every single day, but every single moment it's happening an upgrade. So like you said, right, there is no need for any qualification, because the only qualification that it's needed here, it's you to make yourself available. That's all. Nothing else is needed, because you really cannot have any qualification other than surrender, right? Nothing else can be a qualification for that. So for myself, the first flight to Geneva really changed the course of my life forever, because like you already started saying, basically just in a span of a few days that I spent here, I have decided to take the invitation and become Adinabasi. So basically, just in a span of a few days, I left everything in my country and came back here. So it was literally, I think, in 3 days. So I came here for a week, and not knowing what I will be doing, how everything will be flowing, who will be here, nothing. So it was just complete surrender, right? And then when I was here, it simply got very clear to me, that like Her Excellency Ma Vijayapriya said, right, that there is really not a better way to to experience life than being a Kailasavasi. So, and for myself also, I have been delaying this decision for more than a year. But after spending 1 week, living together with other esteemed ambassadors and being completely immersed in Kailasa mission, I realized I just cannot delay it anymore, right? I cannot delay it any longer. So basically, I traveled back, after the last day. I traveled back to Slovenia and basically very quickly arranged everything, and in the process donated all my possessions to the charity, to the local charity. And basically today itself, I arrived back to Geneva with 2 suitcases, as that's all, which is and of course, with a very firm determination of bringing the United States of Kailasa at the center of the United Nations and the world. So that is the focus. That is why I'm here, and I'm very clear about why I came even into this body, right? That is why I decided to just take the jump and just trust that Bhagwan, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, knows what he's doing. he knows better than me, better than myself, what he's doing, what is the best for me. And just take the jump and surrender everything and understand that everything will unfold, and it will unfold in the best possible way. And what possible better way it is than to represent the United States of Kailasa, to help to build a nation which will revive the enlightened civilization on planet Earth. There is no better way. So yeah, from my side, it is an invitation also. Just take the jump and just do it. Don't listen to any other voice inside of you, because the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism will be speaking directly inside to you.
Actually,
Yes, wow.
if I might add something
Yes.
here, Ma Atmadea. When we landed in Geneva, it was Ma Diana Sullivan and myself that landed there, and we were trying to figure out how do we ask, where do we go and where do we ask for a taxi or for a way to get, to our, the place where we were staying. And we were both trying to figure out, and they speak French there. And I understand everywhere, all I kept telling people is, je comprends un peu français, means I only understand a little French. I've mastered the art of saying that one sentence. And I kept using that everywhere, but I was trying to figure out who can help. And then, and they do speak English also. And then suddenly we hear this very, loud and bombastic and very excited voice out there, a few feet in front of us. And she was explaining how she's trying to figure out, oh, do I go that side for the taxi or do I go this side? Oh, really? And then both of us were thinking, we've heard this voice somewhere. It sounds so familiar. And then Ma Diana looks at me and she says, she's wearing the tilak. She's one of us. She's one of us. And I'm telling you, even for us, the Trinetra tilak, or the way we dress, the way we carry ourselves, is an identification. And it was so exciting. And so when she turned back, we said, hello, Nithyananda Ma, how are you? And she was so shocked to find us in the back. And we said, thank you for asking your questions. Now we know where to go find a taxi. But that's how we saw each other in person for the first time also. We've been interacting in other meetings, but then this was the first time that I got to meet Ma Priya Prema.
Yes, exactly. It was very exciting to see you, and it was just this confusion, where to go, what to do. And when you see the familiar face, it is just, it was just Swamiji sending and saying, that is the way to,
Ma Priya Prema, first of all, wow, wow, amazing. And thank you, Ma Muktika. You're right. When there is this comfort in seeing another disciple of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, there is this coolness that happens in me. It's like, yeah, okay. We speak the same language, so everything from here, that connectedness, or that feeling of that thread, again, like I said, that keeps us together. There is a coolness when we meet somebody that is already initiated, because there's a platform of understanding that we are all on. There is a certain understanding that we are all on, and that comes from the powerful cognitions that we've been initiated into. And the other thing is, wow, Ma Priya Premananda, just jumping in, making clear decisions, moving forward, and seeing things happen and contributing in a very, it's something that you also desired to do, and you had not made that decision fully yet. And there it is. The opportunity knocks, you say yes, and things start unfolding really, really quickly. Thank you so much, Ma, for sharing. We'd like to hear also from Ma Venkatesh Ananda, and the personal breakthrough that you've had. Of course, you've mentioned about being on the flight and hearing, and Mummy said to me the next day that it felt like, something is, I have to go back. I just know I have to go back. So please do share about your personal breakthrough that you've had in this time that you've been with, been in Geneva, been part of the United Nations representation of United States of Kailasa. Please do share.
Yes, thank you, Ma. I had multiple breakthroughs from impossible to possible. And first, I want to share again about power of the VAC. You know, even before I met the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, I had a kind of mantra inside of me that represent what I want to manifest. That mantra, it is in my heart. I repeated it so much time, and it was peace, love, abundance, and harmony for all. And I'm very amazed and very touched that a few years later, I'm in Geneva here in United Nations, in this, which is in the street named Rue de la Paix, Street of Peace. And my breakthrough is to see the power of the VAC and the power of will persistence through the years and how it powerfully and surprisingly manifests thanks to Swamiji. The second breakthrough is about the power of the group. To be a group of powerful goddesses in Geneva, because I think we all felt that sensation of being a goddess in the street. And it's very special when we are like this with all the attires, the jewels and so on. It's special, but it was so powerful experience, and especially being all together as a team, as a group. So people were so curious. They came to us with so much respect, so much question, and literally we felt like God and goddesses. And I feel really we are going on another level, and I felt very blessed about that. And just going with the flow and being aligned as a group, as a team, creates miracles and literally opens the doors. We saw that. We went in places where we thought all was closed, and suddenly a kind of thing happens, and the doors opens. Also, I felt that only to be there and radiate all as powerful women, divine consciousness feminine, in this very masculine environment, it's amazing, and I really feel it will make a difference for the entire humanity. So to just say yes and take responsibility, whatever what happens, and knowing that the Supreme Motif of Hinduism takes care that all is auspicious. And finally, impossibility or difficulty to change the world is completely changed into possibility to change the world in a very surprising way. So I thank you again for this amazing experience, and I thank you all. Thank you.
Yes, Ma, you've summed it up. You know that I felt the impossibility, and actually there is a tinge in the air also in the sessions that I was there. This what the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism shared about, and we listened to it multiple times in Kalpataru as well. You know, usually we are stuck with this space of impossibility, and this is what I even want to say, going from the concept of world global peace, and many attempts have been made by various leaders to bring that, but for some reason it just comes back to conflict, right? So from having that concept of global world peace, and then seeing all of the workings of many leaders, and then actually seeing the building works of that happening, it's moving from that impossibility to possible. It is possible for global peace to happen with the guidance of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, the vision that Bhagwan is holding. It is possible, and I felt that very tangibly actually, and I'm sure every one of the other 16 delegates that were there experienced that. And of course, Her Excellency Ma Vijayapriya Nithyananda has also experienced that one line that you've mentioned, that it is the world changed into possibility. You know, that the word changing from impossibility to possibility to see that global peace happen. And that's why it is imperative that the world leaders do know about the vision that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is having it's important that we reach out to as many leaders locally where we are, and of course in Geneva and Switzerland, where they do gather together for this very subject, right, for this very thing to happen. So it's important that we all get together. Now, thank you so much, Ma Nithya Venkateshananda, for sharing. We'd love to hear also from Ma Sona Kamath, what kind of personal breakthrough you had in the time that you were there.
Thank you, Mahatma Dea. Definitely there was a personal breakthrough. As I mentioned earlier, I felt that 1 week in Geneva was equivalent to an inner awakening, an entire inner awakening. For me personally, time is probably the most precious commodity that I have. And there's so many activities that I had planned for that week that I was supposed to, attend to during that week in Geneva. And I was able to really quickly rearrange my schedule. And at the drop of a hat, which is quite difficult to accomplish for some of the things that I have to do for work and whatnot. And so, I would have in the past perceived even a request to make a major schedule change like that as a major feat. But I amazed myself how quickly I was able to pull it all together and to, quickly get all of it done. And the other thing that I was worried about, and I think that this is echoed in some of the other sharings that we've heard now over the week, that, this isn't an easy task in many ways. People deal with medical issues and whatnot, and to physically be able to go on my flight was going to be a 24-hour flight because it was going to be a long layover in New York, 10-hour layover in New York. So to get the tickets at the last minute, we took whatever we could, of course, but it was physically going to be quite challenging. And so would I be able to travel and sustain all of that? Would I be physically up to the task as well? And I can honestly say that, that entire week we were so busy, as you well know, that we didn't have time to eat. We didn't have time to stop. We walked, goodness gracious, I don't know how many miles or kilometers, whatever unit you use, 25,000 steps bare minimum a day, right? And so I can honestly tell you that I had 2 formal meals that week, and that was it. I got to eat 1 dinner and a forced lunch break because we went to the embassies and they were on their lunch break, so we couldn't get in to meet with anybody at that time. So we said, fine, we also will go and get some lunch. And we happened to find this sweet little Indian restaurant right there near the embassies. And we had a wonderful conversation with this gentleman who was from Mumbai, and we had a wonderful Indian meal. But other than that, I didn't really eat. I didn't really require much as far as liquids. I drank some juice or water along the way, and everything was wonderful and fine. There was, not even a sense that I was missing out on anything. And physically, I did great. And so it was a personal breakthrough for me to get away from the physical body and to be able to say, that I'm beyond some of those things that we normally think of as being necessities. And so out of my own comfort zone. But yeah, so at a personal level, I felt that was quite a significant amount of growth and expansion. And despite tremendous planning and scheduling to arrange those events that I had planned that week, it took just, the snap of Swamiji's fingers and to rearrange my life and change my schedule as I needed to. So that was an amazing breakthrough for me to know that can happen that quickly.
Oh, yes. First of all, Masona, the inner awakening part, the 21-day program, the transformative happenings that happen within the 21 days, the various different levels of experiences, whether it's going beyond sleep, going beyond food, all of that is there, right? So I myself I was Nirahara for the week. But the fact that we've been initiated into Nirahara, is just so seamlessly falls into place. It just clicks. It just starts manifesting, right? Because the initiations are there and things just flow. Yes, thank you so much, Masona, for sharing. I can relate to everything that you've said, and I'm sure all of us have, because when you're running, the priority is to make all of the things happen, and the body is taken care of anyway, because the initiations are there. I was not hungry. I wasn't like, oh, I wasn't hangry either. Not just not hungry. I was not hangry because I didn't get any food and I'm angry because of that. No, that was not there. And that was with everybody. We just went on, got on the work. And like you said, 25,000 steps. I don't think I've exercised as much. But having that yogic experiences, right, which is only because of all the initiations that we've already had with the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. Now, for those who are watching, you are intently watching and excited about what you're hearing, it is also an opportunity for you to become part, for you to say yes, jump in. Now we have 2 links that I see that are being projected to all of you. So everyone watching on YouTube, on Facebook, on any other live platform that we have right now, and Paramashivoham rooms, if you haven't said yes yet, it's time now to jump in and say yes. You can say yes at the links that you've got. It can be anything. It can be your time, any treasure. You can sign up to being an SJP, a Sarvajñapita, Karta Sarvajñapita, Yajaman. You can contribute your talent as well. In any ways, you can join and be part of the diplomatic corps that we have. The link is there, so I'll read it out to you. There's a couple that are being projected to you. The one that I have been sharing is sksjp.org/contribute, and also there is gov.google.sk/diplomatic-corps. Please do sign up and say yes. Now we have just a few more minutes left where we want to hear from each and every one of our guests about the fact that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is a strong voice for all the 2 billion Hindus. And it was for the first time in such a large group. There were 17 of us that attended, represented, were delegates for the United States of KAILASA. I'd like to hear from, I say, Ma Muktikananda, first of all, how that was an experience for you.
I think I will just start with just saying that having the understanding that we were pioneers for creating a voice for Hindus on a global platform, it was absolutely out of this world. And what it brought was with itself a feeling of immense responsibility of what needs to be worked towards. The vision of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is truly beyond everything. And to add to that was that I was at the United Nations. I cannot emphasize how much more powerful the feeling was. And it was the place where global leaders come together to ensure dialogue, peaceful coexistence, and the empowerment of people of the world happens. And we were there to collaborate, to be a part of that, and to bring to the world that KAILASA is the solution today. That the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is here for the world, for all of humanity to benefit. And we don't just sit back and suffer the persecution. Rather, we learn that we are empowered to take a powerful stand and have the world take note of where we stand and what we do. When we stand up for Hindu rights, then the 2 billion Hindus will also raise along with us. It is a clarion call for all of Hinduism, for every person out there to say no to persecution and to come together to seek a solution for world peace and harmony. The people will stand with us knowing that this is their life also, that this will make a change and a shift for them. When interacting with the members of the Human Rights Committee, sharing the space we hold, because we had the opportunities to go speak and engage with, all the, dignitaries over there. And we shared, what was the powerful context that was being shared to the world by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and what the United States of KAILASA was standing for. And it is amazing to see that, it absolutely astounded them. See, what they have been working towards, what they are looking for as a solution, we were actually living it, right? They were so amazed that more than 80% of the leadership that is part of the United States of KAILASA is made up of women leaders. So we were actually a live example of what the world leaders and all the agencies were working towards. And that was the most powerful statement that we wanted to make, to bring attention to the solution that is coming from the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and the United States of KAILASA. And this was, I think, the most powerful that I have felt. And here is looking forward to manifesting a lot more, working together with people across the globe and truly making a difference to humanity. That's what I had to share.
Yes, super, Ma. Thank you so much. It's the narrative, isn't it? I felt like the narrative that has been set about the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, many times it's like a bubble, an attempt to create this kind of misdirection, misinformation. When I was there speaking to many of the dignitaries, they were very open, very willing to listen, and listen from the space of, well, we want to hear what you have to say. And then giving that space, because that space of listening was there, it is easy to part the vision of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism to the world leaders, bring it to their attention. So it's past all of this, wrong narrative, a very negative narrative that has been set about the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, about Hinduism. And I felt like we had the opportunity to challenge that by demonstrating actually that is not true. And the correct narrative is the grand narrative that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is reviving and putting into action, into motion, and demonstrating in a very has been demonstrated. It's not even a new thing. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has been demonstrating from the moment he landed on planet Earth, right? From everything that has happened, and through his Leela, of course, demonstrating already. So I felt like this narrative that has been set, that narrative, the media would like everyone to buy into, but it is absolutely, there is a whole amazing, huge ocean of leaders that are willing to listen to the narrative that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is setting. So I'd love to thank you so much. Yes, sorry, go ahead.
No, I just want to add, saying that to everybody out there, the listeners, those who are watching, just look within, ask yourself, and ask, what can I do? Where can I start? How can I manifest? These are the questions that I will encourage each and every one to actually start, having, because that is truly the way to move forward.
Yes, indeed. And it's the inner image, being low, like, oh, maybe I can't do, I'm not good enough, I don't know, all of this, that is out of the window. Standing from being on that amazing international platform, I feel this is what the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has done for each one of us, is just pulled us up to that level of really feeling empowered. It's not a theory. It's not something that one day I am going to feel. Really, I'm feeling it. So it's for each, and like you said, Muktikananda, everybody can contribute and give yourself this opportunity to be pulled up by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism into a space of empowerment.
I think we have the past that is filled with the persecution. It is important for us to share with the world, what we have been through, but that we are standing strong to create a new world order. We are standing strong to create solutions for the world to understand where we've come from, but yet we are seeking the solution. So that's what.
Yes, seeking to implement the solutions, because the solutions the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has already set into motion. It's the implementation of the seeking to implement them on a global level. Therefore, the conflict, the very solution that the United Nations is seeking for and the world leaders are seeking for, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has already. It's obvious to see, right? Yes, it would be great. Thank you so much, Ma Muktikananda, for sharing. And Ma Priya Prema would love to hear from you as well, how your experience was being on that platform where you are there, with the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism being the strong voice for Hindus and all 17 delegates and ambassadors being there.
Yes, thank you, Ma. So definitely, the biggest pride and joy of my life was sitting in the United Nations Hall, representing the 2 billion Hindus worldwide. It was just, something that you would never imagine of doing, of experiencing. And, just the fact that the voice of Hindu genocide is being heard on the microphone and acknowledged by the world leaders, it is just something amazing. Such a pride that you feel when you're seeing that, when you're experiencing that. And this is not only a voice for Hindus, it is a voice for all of humanity, announcing the beginning of a new era, a new superconscious evolution that was delayed for such a long time, for too long. And this all is possible only due to the extreme compassion and hard work of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. The unimaginable sacrifice and determination to revive and protect the supreme knowledge of Hinduism. And Bhagwan did it, because KAILASA having a place and voice in the United Nations simply proves that he did it. He's doing it. We are doing it. And it is the greatest honor to be a part of that. It is a humbling experience and a big responsibility also. It is just something incredible. History is being, it's in the making right now.
Yes, absolutely. The words that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism did it. Well, people have not even thought of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has done it. Thank you so much, Ma Priya Premananda, for sharing. Now would love to hear from our Venkatesh as well of the same.
Yes, ma'am. So Hindus and the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism had a voice for the first time, and a beautiful voice. And through Her Excellency in the session, we were all waiting the moment where she could take the floor, as they say, and speak in the name of Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism for the million of Hindus, but also for humanity. And we are so proud of her, as she represents so well and so beautifully Hinduism. And she is the voice of Hinduism and Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. And with her, we are together also the voice of Hinduism. So we have to be aware to speak. We are aware. We have to be aware to share. We are to be aware to show up, and in a certain way, even without the title, we are all ambassadors of Hinduism. So I feel we have to go more and more on the scenes all together. I have the feeling that also in sessions, thanks to COVID, I noticed that people could join also by Zoom now in the sessions in UN. So I really imagine, perhaps you also imagine that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism will be able in a few time to come and speak directly with his voice in the United Nations. So not only the United Nations in the United Nations, but by the presence of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism through us, Hinduism has a voice to say that we want to contribute to a better world a better world of peace, of love, of consciousness, and abundance for all. So everyone again will say it's impossible, but KAILASA not only says, but shows that it's possible. So deep gratitude to the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. I bow down at his lotus feet. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ma, for sharing. Yeah, absolutely. So the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has taken the being a strong voice. Now it's really imperative that all Hindus stand up and decide to be part of this revival. It is not just that, see, oftentimes I know that whenever I have felt in any way attacked in my life, then I have learned to shrink. That's not the case with the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. No matter how much the persecution happens, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism only gets stronger in the vision. There's no question of shrinking. So it's not that, of course all the responsible steps are taken, but standing strong, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has taken the first steps. Now it's really important everybody comes together collectively, and that's why the opportunity has been opened up to everyone that's on YouTube, everyone that's on Facebook, everybody that is watching, participating on any online platforms, and also in the Paramashivoham sessions. It's time for you also to step in, come be part of this larger vision that is not just for, it is not that, see, the one most important statement that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has made is that I am not here to prove I am God. I am here to prove you are God. And that really is in motion. So unless we say yes, jump in and sign up for the opportunities that are there, then we get to say, okay, you know what, I think I'm going to keep my smaller identity. Why? When the opportunity is there to step up and experience the space of Paramashivatva, jump in, sign up to sksjp.org/contribute, or there is also gov.google.sk/diplomatic-corps. So it'll be great for all of you. This opportunity is also there. We have only a couple more sharings left for you all. So before we go to the next part, I invite everybody that is watching to sign up immediately, say yes, and be part of experiencing yourself as Paramashiva. Now I'll go to Ma Sona Kamath and love to hear from yourself, Ma, about your experience whilst we were there representing the space of Hinduism.
Yes, Ma. I have to say, and I echo the sentiments of all of what you guys have said. Also, this was truly an amazing representation of Hinduism. And I would probably dare to say that it was like none other than what the UN has ever seen before. But I will tell you just a small story, Ma, which was the highlight for me at this meeting. And that was the chairperson for the very first session that we attended. It was for inclusivity and equality for women in decision-making systems. So what that means is giving women a voice in politics, right? And right now, some of the statistics that we learned before we went to represent KAILASA there at the UN was that only about a third of the representation is women in politics, regardless of where in the world you're looking. At the highest, 36% in any given government are women. And so, I have followed the work of the chairperson that was leading this particular session and committee. And, it's interesting because she's really done a lot of work with handicapped people and disabilities and encouraging countries to give access to handicapped persons. And I'm a physician, so for me, that is something that really touched me. The monumental amount of work that she has actually done to give people access to something as simple as being able to get up on a stage to give a speech. You know, there are some countries that don't even have access to a ramp to be able to have, you know, public places where they can have access to being able to do those things. And so for me, watching her sit there conducting an entire session, and this is a blind person, and she made it look so effortless without any problems. And so I had the opportunity to go after the session to go and personally meet and talk with her and compliment her on how easily and effortlessly she conducted the session. And at that time, I actually got to have a really meaningful, deep conversation with her about the United States of KAILASA. And I explained to her that, you know, here we were collectively all trying to figure out ways that other countries and countries globally can give women a voice in and be heard and have some role in leadership. But the United States of KAILASA, 90% female representation in our governance, and that most of our executive positions were actually led by women. And she was so impressed to hear these statistics, as everyone else was, that we mentioned that, you know, as you can see, there are 2 rows here of representatives and predominantly women. And so they were surprised, you know, to see us and how we carried ourselves, and the fact that we were attending this conference and session, and that we were actually living that life, you know, and already have in practice what they were so, you know, trying to accomplish, and we're so industrious in trying to accomplish that for other countries. We, as the United States of KAILASA, were already living that. So she was very impressed by all of that. And, you know, I will say that as a blind person, she wasn't able to see. Many of the people were taken by the grandeur of our clothes and our jewelry and how we carry ourselves and how we present ourselves as a nation. And she was not able to see that. But I can tell you that she held my hand and continued to talk to me. And the one thing that was very clear was that she understood the quality of people that she was dealing with. Whether she saw us or not, she understood the ahimsa and the nurturing nature of who we were, the strength and the soft power that stood before her. She clearly understood that. And all of these qualities, these are qualities that Swamiji just effortlessly radiates through us. You know, and when you say yes to any of his work, you know, you become that Paramashiva. You radiate that Paramashiva. And he's not here, as you said, Ma, I got goosebumps hearing you say it with such conviction, that he is not here to show us that he is God, but that we are God. And that is what I felt that day, representing the United States of KAILASA as I spoke with her. And anyone who came in contact with us, I know they felt its attraction also. It was quite evident. Thank you, Ma.
Yes, no, absolutely. I was there with you when you you know, when you were speaking, and I understood what you said, that even when the body language, the presence, with most of us, it's our being that has been extremely attracted to the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. You know, the logic or the cognition takes a little time to catch up, but the beingness, so she felt the beingness of Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism very much present right there, as you said, flowing through each one of us whilst we were there. So it's not, it's beyond the boundaries that we understand. Yes, thank you so much, Ma Sona, for sharing. Now we have, of course, Her Excellency Ma Vijayapriya Nithyananda. I'd love to hear from you, and anything else you'd like to share as we come to the conclusion of this, for this segment. What would you like to share about, you know, the representation of ourselves in the large number that we were, and of course representing Hinduism?
Yes, ma'am, absolutely. See, this was the first time ever that Hinduism was represented in such a grand way, but also the ethnocide and genocide of Hinduism, of Hindus, was heard at the United Nations. I mean, not many of us know, not even Hindus know, that over 7 centuries, there have been more than 400 million Hindus that have been massacred. Hindus have seen the longest and cruelest persecution in history, but no one knows about it. It's only because of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism that I myself know about this. So the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is the only being who is bringing awareness to the persecution, the ethnocide and genocide of Hindus, and also bringing Hindus back together as one. Because as the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism says, Hindus have too much to offer to the world. And I mean, if we look at in ancient times, in the ancient, the ancient 56 nations, all the good things that the world is enjoying today is because of Hinduism. Whether it is the first democracy, the first language, so many scientific advancement, even cosmology. I mean, nowadays people know mostly about, yoga and Ayurveda, which is making so much impact in their life. But Hinduism has so much more to offer. So the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is being persecuted because he's bringing Hindus back together, because he's reviving Hinduism. He's reviving the ancient enlightened Hindu civilization that we used to have in the past, that revered, respected women, held women in powerful positions, leadership positions. And also because the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is empowering women, he's being persecuted. So now really is the time for all Hindus to come together and stand by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and by KAILASA. And all Hindus really should now become aware of the, of the history, of our ancestors, what persecution, what torture, they went through, just to, and just because of not succumbing to, to whatever torture and whatever, ethnocide they went through. Just because of that, also Hinduism is still, still standing. So the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism really has just taken it onto himself, he's bearing the brunt of everything, of all the persecutions, of all the attacks. So now there's no time to waste. Everybody, all the Hindus should really wake up now and stand by KAILASA, support KAILASA, be the voice for KAILASA everywhere where you are. Just go and enrich about KAILASA, about the work that KAILASA is doing. Yes.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you so much, Ma Vijayapriyananda. Everybody is beaming, excited to have darshan very, very shortly. So I'm going to wrap it all up and say that in the Living Enlightenment book, A Sacred Deity in KAILASA, which is all about conflict-free living, Bhagavad Gita Decoded is a preamble to the Constitution of United States of KAILASA. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism explores the root causes of conflict and suffering, both on an individual and societal level. He offers practical solutions for dealing with conflict, including the importance of cultivating non-violence, compassion, and empathy. He also emphasizes the importance of developing a deep understanding of oneself and others, as well as the importance of communication and negotiation in resolving conflicts. So KAILASA is a place where time, treasure, and talent are utilized resourcefully. Over the years, significant investments have been made in various initiatives that align the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism's values and goals. This includes $20 billion for food security and assistance, $15 billion for primary and secondary education, $800 million for COVID-19 relief services, $640.5 million for the collection, conservation and digitalization of Hindu manuscripts, $2.41 billion for sustainable and organic farming, and $15.3 billion for global peace initiatives. These investments demonstrate Kailasa's and the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism's commitment to making a positive impact on the world by utilizing its resources in a responsible and impactful way. It's time for us to think beyond all borders and consider ourselves as part of the global family. Kailasa's and the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism's aim to unite all nations is about enriching everyone with the highest values. So it's time for you all to jump in, say yes. Hinduism's principle of ahimsa paramo dharma clearly emphasizes non-violence as the ultimate cosmic principle. So please come join in. If not now, when? And if not you, then who? Please sign up with the links that have been projected to all of you. We look forward to hearing from each one of you, training with all of you. For now, I won't keep you hanging on longer. I know you are palpably waiting. So thank you all for having signed up, who participated, engaged on YouTube, on Facebook, on all other platforms, and of course in Paramashivoham sessions as well. Let's end with the Purana Mantra. I won't keep you away from Swamiji any longer. Maybe tease you a little bit. No, let's finish. Please sit straight with your head, neck, and spine in a straight line. Thank you so much. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sarvam Bhagavate Shri Nithyananda Paramashiva Padukar Panamastu. Om Nithyanandam. Thank you to all the excellencies that have been here for coming and participating and contributing. See you all very, very soon. Thank you. Nithyanandam.
Nithyanandam, thank you.